Yo, 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 Hockey Happy Hour coming at you live. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and you know what? Why the hell not? Hit that share button as well. Let's get A2D out there. Let's keep going. We got live reactions for you tonight. Flyers, Maple Leafs. We got 6 games left, so the pain is finally over. Let's go talk about it.
Let's go! This ain't the puck like this game he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sudi, along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What up?
And the Broken One, Rob Povia.
What's going on, everybody? Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays to everyone. Happy Easter. And
Easter was this week?
yeah, this past week, yeah.
Didn't seem like it.
Yeah, I know, right? It didn't feel like it. I had to work, so it definitely didn't feel like it for me, I can tell you that. But anyway.
Yeah, I work too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually were busy. I was very surprised by that.
Anyway, tonight, gentlemen, by the grace of the hockey gods, praise they be, this is the final live reaction show for the Flyers season. Thank you. Thank you very much. You have been oh so very not merciful to the Flyers this year and to the fans. But all the same, at least it's about to be over. The Flyers only have a handful of games left. The season can finally be over with. And then we can just focus on the drafts for the Flyers. And for us here, we can focus on the playoffs. And, you know, that's when things get really exciting. But all the same, though, tonight, the Flyers take on the Toronto Maple Leafs from the Air Canada Centre. Auston Matthews and the Leafs would like to get another win on the Flyers. As for the Flyers, though, they would like to get a victory, a surprise victory, that is. Out there in Toronto, the possibilities are rather slim, but who knows? Maybe the Leafs won't take this game seriously and the Flyers will get a win. Maybe. Anyway, tonight we are brought to you by Manscaped. As always, you get 20% off of your order, free shipping with the code at A2D at manscaped.com. You can throw away your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. Get all that confidence in you. And you know what the ladies don't like, Bri?
Oh, it's that, what's it called? Oh, yeah, junk funk.
Yeah, it's that junk funk. We don't like that around here. Neither do they. By the way, also...
I like it. I don't like it. I don't like it on myself. I don't want no girl, worrying about that.
No, you don't. You really, really don't. By the way, as well, in the month of April, it is testicular cancer awareness. They'll be working... Manscaped is actually working with the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to that throughout the month of April. So if you support Manscaped, whether you're using our code or not, you also help with them in their Save the Balls initiative, which again, 20% off, free shipping with the A2D code throughout the old hygiene habits and support a good cause, because junk funk ain't the only thing you got to worry about down there. The last thing you want is testicular cancer. So let's bring awareness to that. So that way, like any cancer, it can be dealt with and it can go away or become one of those where it's not really a big challenge kind of things. But all the same,
Sounds like a win-win, Maddie.
It does. You have no junk funk and you don't have to worry about testicular cancer. What more could you want? It's perfect.
Shout out to Melvin Bandola.
Yes.
I see you in the chat, brother.
And tonight, the poll question brought to you by one of our favorite sponsors. Definitely for anyone out there who likes to throw the money around a little bit, it is going to be playoff time. It's playoff time for the NBA right now, and it will be playoff time for the NHL as well. That's BetUS. It's the leading online sportsbook that has been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the U.S. on everything. Not just one or two sports, all the sports. And you can use that link right down there that you see at the bottom of your screen for 125% sign-up bonus. Take advantage. Take advantage of that offer, guys, because this is the time where there's a lot of money to be made.
Especially when Willie Vegas and Money Moss give their advice.
Oh,
What
yeah.
you should and shouldn't do.
Oh, yeah.
These guys will win you some money. Go to BetUS and win yourself some money.
By the way, you can get a little bit of those pro tips by becoming an A2D member. $9.99 a month, plus the appearances on shows, members only stream shoutouts. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there as well to look into. And the poll question for today is, this will be the year that the Maple Leafs get out of the first round. Agree or disagree? It has been the biggest issue that the Leafs have ran into over the last 5 years, culminating with one of the toughest losses that they have ever taken, probably in franchise history, just last season when they blew a 3-1 series lead to the Montreal Canadiens, choking their way out of the playoffs. Gentlemen, do you think that this is the year? Do you think that this is finally the time when Matthews, Tavares, Marner, and the rest of the crew out there up in Toronto, they finally break that first round jinx?
I don't know, man. Looking at the standings right now, and I know it's still subject to change. Boston only 3 points behind the Tampa Bay Lightning for that final playoff spot. So there's no set opponent yet for the Maple Leafs. But depending on who their opponent could be, I absolutely agree to this. I think they have a better shot against the Bruins than they do Tampa Bay, but I think that Tampa Bay series will be a hell of a lot more entertaining than the one against Boston. But I like Toronto. I mean, despite the fact that Florida's essentially just won the Atlantic Division, not officially, but mathematically, Toronto is still in it. I like this Toronto team. They're a much better team than they were in the past couple years, in the last 5 years, being ousted in the first round. I think defensively they're a lot better. They have better goaltending in Jack Campbell. And offensively, they've just been a powerhouse all season long. Tavares doing his thing. Auston Matthews, setting records and goals for Maple Leafs, and Nylander. And they're just so deep, and they roll all four lines. Their biggest issue going into the playoffs has been defense and goaltending, and I think they finally have it all together. If they can get everybody on the same page and they can get rolling early, I could see a deep run for this Maple Leaf team.
All right. Robbie, how are you feeling on these guys?
I'm a little disagreeable with Brian here. I mean, as it stands now, they will face the Lightning. Now, Lightning are a team that's played a lot of hockey over the last, past couple of seasons. Few new pieces are in place to support them, but a lot of the same faces too. So ultimately, fatigue come down to an issue, even as early as the first round. Now you also look at this season. Tampa Bay has been a very undisciplined team. They have the third most penalty minutes on the season, whereas the Leafs, on the other hand, have the sixth least. So I think that's a big feather in the cap of the Leafs. You look at their special teams. On the power play, they're the first, number one team in the league, 27.83%. On the penalty kill, seventh in the league, 82.95% of the time they keep the puck out of the net. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, their penalty kill, they're on it a lot, 11th in the league, 81.5%. And on the power play, just for further comparison, 21.12%. That's 16th in the league. So a lot of advantages here pointing towards the Maple Leafs. And then you got to look at their leader, a guy that stepped up his game, stepped up his leadership, and is having a career year, and that's Auston Matthews.
Yeah, I mean, with Tampa Bay, you bring in, a guy like Corey Perry, and, you still have Patrick Maroon. Those guys are going to take some bad penalties. they're going to do things to try and get guys under their skin, and more times than not, they're going to draw a penalty, but they're going to take one as well. So you're going to get that coincidental penalty there. So you have some guys in there that don't know how to keep a cool head from time to time. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately that me and Rob both agree that this could be the year for Toronto to really, finally get out of the first round and probably make a run.
All right.
Oh, the way you were starting off that argument, I was thinking you were unfavorable. I know you were kind of mixed. I'm pretty as confident as I can be in a Toronto team, I guess, in this scenario. But I guess we do agree that. I mean, I agree that they will get out of the first round. I just think the easier time would be the Tampa. That's where we're a little disagreeable. You think it'll be easier, the path will be the Bruins. I think it's actually the Lightning, despite the regular season that they just put up.
Yeah, and
I'll agree with the poll.
Yeah, I mean, it's this Tampa Bay team isn't as dominant as the last two for sure, and they've dealt with some injuries this year, and they obviously don't have the special teams going like they did the last couple of years to really get them to the cup and ultimately win the last two. But
to your point, Brian, they play big though. You're right, they play big. That's going to get penalty minutes, but very few teams win that physical battle, and that's always been the thing with Toronto. Can they win the physical battle in the playoffs? I don't know, Maddie. I don't know, Brian.
No, and I'm with you. It's just with Boston, Tampa Bay is a much deeper team than Boston, and that's kind of why I think Boston could be the easier one. You don't have to face Andre Vasilevsky. You got to face Swayman and Omar. Inexperience, but also, not nearly in the same category as the type of goaltender that Vasilevsky is. So, I mean, you really have one line to worry about in Boston, and you have at least three to worry about in Tampa Bay. And I think the only thing that I would lean towards saying Tampa Bay would be a little bit better off, it's like Rob was stating, is the special teams versus each Toronto and Tampa. It heavily favors Toronto versus Tampa.
Right.
So we got Jake chiming in saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. I'm going to agree with the poll."
You catch Jake every Friday night on Fan Friday. You check them out. They do an awesome job.
Absolutely. And Ryan Swoop saying, "I agree." Troy's just saying, "Bruh, what happened to the good weather?" Yeah, it disappeared.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, it's a beautiful sunny day down here, but it's a little it's a little on the chilly side. I got my work shirt on because it's warm.
Okay, so is it like 75 degrees and you consider that chilly out there?
No, that's like 50 something.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty much around
Low
the
60s.
same as around here. Yeah, okay. It's similar here.
The only difference is the sun's warmer down here than it is up there. So the air is still cold. We were in the 50s yesterday. It was gross yesterday.
What's up, Melvin?
What up, buddy? I mean, we should back in the 70s towards the end of the week, so that'll be nice.
Well, there you go.
It'll feel like a heat wave.
Yeah.
It feels so good to open my windows back up, though.
Troy saying yo, and that was earlier. And then Ted saying, "Hey, dudes, what's up, Ted?"
What up, Ted?
And Swoop saying, "Who is more likely to get traded, Provy, Sanheim, or TK?" I was listening to O'Connor and Jason Martinez today on Jason's show. Charlie says Sanheim least likely, Provy the most likely of the three. I would agree on that. Provy has had more than a few issues, not just on the ice, but in the locker room too. So doesn't take long for guys like that to get thrown onto the trade block.
Well,
that was my initial instinct to agree exactly verbatim with Charlie, but you know what? I think it's going to be TK being the most likely. Build up some value, maybe you can get some better pieces back. And one thing I saw, and I mean, yeah, there has been misgivings about Provy, but him being paired up with Zamula and having that Russian connection, they were even talking Russian to each other out on the ice, right? Sometimes that can revitalize and change the perspective of a player. You know what I mean? And the guy is very talented. Yes, gets beat like a red-headed mule at times, but maybe he can get his game back to where it was when he first came into this league. So I think TK would be the guy.
Yeah, so I mean, I see your point, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think TK absolutely needs a change of scenery to get his game back, but I also think Provy being the diva and essentially being a toxic player in the locker room, I think he's going to wind up asking to be traded come draft time, and so that way he has time to get comfortable and all that stuff with his new team or whatever. And both guys, you can't really go wrong with trading because they're all young and they still have a lot to prove. Has Provy been oh God, how can I put this? Underachieving? Oh, absolutely. He was what? Top 15 pick? Yeah. He needs to be way better. He's another guy I think that needs a change of scenery as well. I don't think that he likes it here anymore. I don't think he likes the culture. I think let's be real. This whole thing has changed drastically, complete 180 in the span of a couple years. So can't blame him for being upset with the organization and the team and all this other stuff. But I mean, you still got to show up every night. Still got to show up. So I think that's why Provy's going to be the first one to go.
All right. And we got Swoop, who did chime in earlier, saying, get ready to watch the Maple Leafs force the Flyers to the outside along the boards and not giving them one bit, if any, room in the middle of the ice. They've done it in every game this year.
I mean, the Flyers had a really nice scoring chance earlier on coming up from the high slot. So,
yeah. Let's see. Troy saying it's some BS while laughing. And then Ted said, do you guys really...
bullshit.
Yep. Do you guys really think the Leafs are going to knock out the champs in the first round? Now, I will say this. My opinion on that matter is I have very little faith that you break a jinx when it gets this bad. But at the same time, though, stranger things have happened. But I also kind of want to will it into existence. I'm going to say disagree. And the reason why I want to will it to existence is because Maple Leafs cannot win a cup before the Flyers. They have to not win a cup before the Flyers do. Sorry. That's just how it's got to be at the end of the day. The Leafs, I'm sorry. You're going to have to stay miserable for a while until we win ours. Then you can win as many as you like, as many as your heart desires. Then.
I mean, I want to agree, but in that same breath, that Western Conference is kind of better. So, I mean, even if they get there, there's no guarantee. Even if they get out of the first round, there's no guarantee they get out of the second.
That's true. They might wear themselves out getting out of the first round. That might be their equivalent of the Stanley Cup.
Although, on the flip side of that, the Capitals went through the same thing for a while, couldn't get out of the first round. First time they got out of the first round, what happened? Well, whatever. You know what I'm saying.
But I know exactly what you're saying. They
finally get over the hump and they win it all.
Yeah. They finally got through the Penguins and then they go on to beat the Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah. Let's see here. Troy saying either it got to be nice 60s or it needs to snow consistently.
Give me 70s, mid 70s all year.
Let's see here. Ted's saying, when you say the locker room, what's up with Profi? He's just calling people out when he plays like shit. Like he plays like garbage, yet he tells somebody else you're playing like garbage. I'm like, well, you got no room to fucking talk. Also, that's pretty much the best way to surmise it. Yeah. Let's see. And he's not a veteran either. I mean, technically he is, but he hasn't been in the league nearly as long as, say, somebody like Hayes or...
Look at that.
Oh, Yandel's going to the box?
Yandel going to the box.
Oh, they put Yandel back in the lineup?
They did. And he got called for, I guess, that hook right there on Engvall.
Yeah, I just saw it. I just got it. For Maddie, I'm behind you again.
Well, that's going to happen.
Well, last week I was finally ahead of you, and now I'm back to being behind.
Yep. Because the game was on TNT, I think it was, or was it ESPN? I think it was ESPN.
One of the two. I think it was TNT, but yeah.
In case people are just tuning into us, not the game, I don't blame you. The lines go as follows: Hayes, center, and Cates, and Konechny. Second line: Lawton, JVR, and Bobby Brink. third line, Frost with Farabee and Tippett, kind of like that. Fourth line, Thompson with Lindblom and McEwen. Defensively, Provorov, Sanheim, Zamula, Connaughton, Yandel, Attard.
I like all the young names in that lineup. I like it. It's not gonna. You're not gonna. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna scratch together a couple wins here and there for the remainder of the year, but I like that. I like all the young names: Brink, Attard, Zamula. This is what they should be doing. They're it's clearly not getting to the playoffs. They're sitting at the bottom of the league. This is what you do at that point. You just plug in the young guys, see what you got. Rotate some of the vets out to maybe give them a little bit of a mental break. Put the young guys in, let them play, see what you have, see who's ready, see who's not. I mean, it's the only way to do it. You're not gonna learn a lot from the guy playing in the AHL at this point.
No, Troy's saying how many games are left. Rob, I do believe you said 6 in the chat, right?
Yes, the answer is sex.
And Ryan Swoops saying he said Sanheim is doing incredible with Risto. Also, his plus minus is +7 or close to that, when an entire team is in the -80s or something like that altogether.
I feel like the -80 is a little bit of a exaggeration, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not.
Tom saying, dudes, what's up, Tom?
Tommy.
What's up, Tommy?
And then Troy
This
saying,
is torture.
Yeah. When was the last time that the Flyers won a chip? 1975. So it's been a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a long time. Flyers have been to a whopping 6 finals since then and have lost every single one of them. So
in their defense, though, they were playing dynasties, so
they were. No team has had worse luck drawing teams in the finals than the Flyers ever since 1975, when they were a dynasty. They go up in 1976, they faced the Canadiens, 80 the Islanders, then in 85, it was the Oilers, then 87, the Oilers again, 97, the Red Wings, 2010, the Blackhawks. No team's had worse luck. No team has had worse luck in the finals than the Flyers.
The National Lampoon's European Vacation quote was brought to you by Joe Povia.
Well said.
Man. Whoa.
What?
My dad was born that year. Troy, how old are you? I feel like I'm going to not like this answer.
He also said bro with skulls at the end. After that.
And of course, Malakovic disagreeing to the poll. What's up, Greg?
What's up, Greg? Yeah.
Greggy.
I mean, hey, listen, I understand why, because you know what? You know what the last time the Maple Leafs won a cup was? It was 1966. So the thing is, if the Maple Leafs, if you're keeping track, 1975 and 66, the last time that the Flyers and the Maple Leafs won a cup, there's a reason why I said I don't want the Maple Leafs to win a cup, because the Maple Leafs win one. Guess who has the longest cupless streak? Us. We get to take that throne. Like, great. So now we're the great choke artists of the Eastern Conference. Not good. That's not what we want. So, no, Toronto has to keep that throne, please. Keep your reign going. It's been a lovely reign.
Maybe that's where Greg's head is at too, Maddie.
Maybe. And Troy said 18.
Wow.
Enjoy, brother. You only get it once.
Seriously, you're my nephew's age, and I told him, just experience life, bro.
Yeah.
You only get one. You make the most of it. Make some mistakes, but don't be dumb. But make some mistakes.
Yeah. But
Have
embrace
it.
Embrace it.
Here's to you, brother.
Yes, embrace your youth.
Oh, man, 17. I just picture bonfire parties on the beach, crashing out drunk, getting up, going to work. Work down on Long Beach Island.
My nephew just went on his senior trip. I found out he had a couple parties. My nephew got trashed on senior trip. Good for him.
Oh, there
But he
you
was smart about it,
go.
though. He was smart about it, though. He wasn't going out. He obviously didn't have to drive. He stayed in the place that he was where he was supposed to be. Like, if you're gonna do that shit, be smart about it. Like, don't be dumb. Don't drink and get behind the wheel. Don't do anything stupid like that, especially if you're a minor. If you're
Yeah.
gonna drink, make sure you're not driving. If you're drinking and, like I said, if you're drinking and driving, no bueno.
Do what Rob said. Pass out on the beach and then wake up the next
Or-
day. You know.
Mucho sand in your crack and dust it out, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Get hopped up, make bad decisions. You can't get charged as an adult. Well, 17. I was thinking 17, but
Unfortunately, get charged as an adult, but
yeah.
Still though, you should be pretty
I love
sober
it.
by
I
the
love
time
it.
you got sunburned and or tanned, and you wake up on the beach wondering, "Oh shit, I gotta go to work."
yeah, enjoy it, Troy. Seriously, bro. Enjoy your youth, bro. But anyway, let's continue on.
All right, so Ryan's saying, "I want all your guys' opinion on the flowing. Please go deep into talking about what I'm going to type out. Yes, get ready. Oh boy. All right, we'll prepare for the paragraph there. We'll study and make sure
actually.
we're ready. We'll be ready." Ted said, "We need to lose out. We're fourth in the lottery. Pain for Shane Wright." Yeah, I don't think we're going to have enough pain. We could lose out right now, and the Coyotes have pretty much got him signed, sealed, and delivered, lock, stock, and barrel at this point.
Hey, remember.
Hey, maybe he
Remember,
comes out and says, "If you draft me, I'm not signing."
Oh,
know.
there you go. And
Don't
then
know.
we do another Lindros deal.
I mean, if they're in fourth right now, I like their chances to actually wind up getting that number one. Like, their chances are getting better and better. Because you remember, Detroit did finish in first and wound up in fourth. So the chances of them actually being able to climb up to one, I mean, let's be real. They're going to have a top 5 pick regardless.
True.
If they can get within 1 and 2, they're going to get either Shane Wright or another really good potential franchise-changing type of player. Because, yeah, 2023 draft class is going to be off the fucking wall. But this draft, you're still going to have a really good first round in this draft.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. Troy's saying, when do you all think the Flyers will be good again? You know, it depends on who you ask. You know, Rob and Bride, they're kind of on the not too much in the distant future. I'm more of it's going to take a while sort of side of things. But it really depends. I think the fan base is extremely divided on when they think the Flyers will be competitive again. You know, and
I've seen people saying 5, 6, 7 years. I think 2 to 3 because they already have a lot of the young nucleus in place. It's really just plug and play, letting these guys develop at this point. And for a lot of these players, they've already been in the system for a couple of years. You know, he's just waiting for guys like Frosty to break out, Shanheim to really break out. You know, there's TK just to find his scoring touch again. They got pieces in place already. You know, you already got your goaltender. They need to get healthy. Is my big one. Get Coots back. Get Ellis back. Yeah, anywhere from 2 to 50 years. Like I said, they got a lot of the young pieces in place already. So let's just it's
like JD
filling the pipeline, and just letting guys develop. Just let some of these young guys develop. Tippett, I think, is going to break out in the next year or two.
All right, so here we go, gentlemen. Hopefully you've studied, because here comes the test. Ryan saying, Flyers keep bringing in different GMs and coaches, but they continue to struggle. Why is that? I believe that there are a lot of reasons why, but I think it goes beyond the GM and coaching. Although the GM and coaches definitely comes into play, it starts with ownership. The owners need to find the right GM and those in control of operations and scouting who are all on the same page as him and want the same style of system and philosophy, which is something that I absolutely agree with. I've been saying that. Everybody's got to get on the same page. No one is in that organization, and it's killing them. And they all want the same system and style and look for and get excited about the same thing in players and coaches. They'll find the coach/coaches who fit to and provide the same style of coaching, then go out and get players through the draft, free agency, and trades. That brings this same style and focus. So much confusion and always just going with the flow. No plans or goals out in place.
Yeah.
And that's a big concern. I will say, I'm sorry, Rob. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was going to say that when it comes to that, I do worry that Fletcher has stated he does not plan on rebuilding. He does plan on retooling. Like I said before, though, when I talked about a rebuild, I saw, okay, well, we don't trade everybody away. There are some people you can't get rid of because of contracts. But on top of that as well, there's plenty of pieces that are still here that can be here for a rebuild. And then they can still be a viable asset that are not going to be in their late 30s, going into their 40s, when that's when everyone starts saying, okay, how much longer does he got left till he hangs his skates up? A lot of these guys who are young and up and coming, they can be here for a rebuild, and it's not the end of the world. That's where my perspective was. So it's like, okay, let's start this from scratch, and let's try to do something and build around some of these young players. That's where my philosophy and head was at. Now, some people are even more aggressive than that. Some are saying trade every single player away, which I feel like, okay, that might be a little too aggressive, because you don't want to trade guys like Carter Hart away or Joel Farabee or guys who still show you some talent and can still be talented in this organization. But I do have that fear that this organization gets complacent with the idea of, well, let's just throw some money at the situation and that'll solve the problem. That's my biggest fear with this organization, is that they never learn from their mistakes. That's the other thing that's been really bugging me, is that we've seen it happen time and time again. Guys coming in saying, well, we'll just grab this free agent, that free agent, we'll grab this guy, we'll throw money at this situation. That's a good trade with a sexy player right there. Let's go grab him. Let's bring him in. They've always been trying to do that. It's like, that's not going to solve the problem. You have young players. Let's see those young players. And that's what we're seeing now. Sure, the play's not great, but that's what's going to happen when you bring up young players. They got to learn. But at the same time, I'd rather suck and build towards something than, suck because you pretended you were competitive and you suck ass. Just as simple as that. That's where my head's at, and that's where my concern is from the organization, that they're going to keep falling into that trap of, well, we're just 2 or 3 players away and we'll go grab them. It's like, no, you stupid motherfucker. No, build around your young players. Do not go and grab players out of the free agency and waste more valuable cap space that you don't have. That's the thing that's been bothering me. But that's where my response is. Gentlemen, I will let you guys take that away with your answers now for the nice paragraph.
Probably go ahead, brother.
Well, I mean, you said it, man. I mean, needs to be in line. I that's exactly what I was about to jump in there before to say. And it seems like the Flyers always have gone for best available, whether that be best available coach, but best available high-priced free agent. That's never a bad thing. It's not a bad philosophy. I'm not saying that, but there's a difference between the best and the right. And you got to get the right fit and have it in line. And it does start at the top. You got to get a guy that, like hopefully through the interview process, they'll be able to identify coaching that are on the same philosophy, on the same system. I mean, I want to think that it has been more in line than maybe Ryan's given it credit for. It's not always one way or another. But I think Ted in the YouTube chat was talking about the toxicity in this organization, at the top. And that could be an element that in play as well, that's not going to really be overcome until there's a new ownership group that comes in. I saw it. You guys know I'm a Mets fan. I saw it with the Will Pond selling the team. Steve Cohen. It's a totally different culture, like overnight, and that's how quick it can happen. But
oh, we lost Rob.
Oh man, and it was a mid-sentence too.
I know he wasn't. Damn. Well, all right. So Rob will be back with the rest of his point. Bri, why don't you go ahead and throw out your stuff?
All right, so my big thing with this organization, and I wasn't big on it to begin with, and I just want to say what's up to York Baller over on the YouTube side, saying it's going to be a fun season. Let's go Leafs.
Yep. What's going
So
on,
we got a
York
Leafs fan
Baller?
in here, which is great. Welcome to the
Yep.
show, brother.
Absolutely. Hopefully, yeah, hold on before we move forward.
Let's get
Here's
back
the
in
poll.
here.
Yeah, here's the poll
Oh.
question for you, York Baller. This will be the year the Maple Leafs get out of the first round. Agree or disagree? Feel free to give your opinion on that, brother. All right, what were you going to say, Brian?
All right, so for me, with this Flyers organization, your biggest issue is your ownership. Your ownership has created a lackluster culture that doesn't really desire winning. That's my biggest issue. And then you have your front office built to really just be okay with mediocrity. And I hate putting it that way, but from the last 11 years, that's what they've been okay with. And they haven't really done a whole ton to really make anything better. But at that time, though, at the start of all this, all these guys that we're talking about, like, getting away with giving away now, guys like Giroux, Voracek, and all, they were all kids at that point. So you had your young nucleus built, and you were just fitting pieces around it. I'm okay if they go out and make moves in free agency. You're supposed to. I get that, this is the point where you see where your young guys are. Who's ready, who's not ready. So you want TK to take a next step. You want Farabee is just going to be a stud. There's a bunch of other young guys. Owen Tippett's going to be he's a roster guy. There's going to be holes next year because some of these guys that are playing right now aren't ready. They may not be ready next year. So you're going to have holes to fill. So you have to go to free agency. There's one thing I want the Flyers to do from the jump is go out and get a coach. To Ryan's point, yeah, it's got to be. They all got to be on the same page. I absolutely agree to that. But it's going to be ultimately the coach's system. So get a coach like a Claude Julien. My number one guy is Paul Maurice. Go out and get a Paul Maurice. This is a guy who meshes well with just about every player, and the players just had nothing but great things to say about him. They were all heartbroken when he stepped down. So that's the type of guy that I want behind the bench for the Flyers. Obviously, Mike Yao is probably not going to get his job back next year. He's going to be gone. So a Claude Julien type, a Paul Maurice type. Figure out who your nucleus is. Figure out what you want your new core to look like. It's probably going to be a Farabee. Probably going to be a Coots. Probably going to be Tippett. Guys like that. Just build around them. It doesn't have to be 18 skaters of guys who are under the age of 25. It just doesn't have to be. If you feel like you can get a free agent, it doesn't have to be a flashy free agent, but a free agent that's going to fit the system, a free agent that's going to fit the locker room and help create a new culture. Go for it. Go for it. But ultimately, first you have to find your coach. And you have to figure out what you want that culture to be. You got to bring the pride back to that logo on the sweater. Because right now there is no pride. No. There is no pride. They're not playing with any kind of pride right now. But yeah, I mean, they don't need a full rebuild. They don't need to completely blow it up. There's pieces in place. They made moves at the deadline that didn't sell any piece of the core or the future core,
which is fine.
Which is great. Anaheim did the same thing. They moved a few pieces. Yeah, they moved some of the bigger pieces on the roster, but who's still there? All the young guys you want to be in place, and that's something that the Flyers need to do is figure out what that is. And this is why you're doing this now. You figure out who's ready. You figure out what that core is going to look like. You figure out, you're starting to put the blueprint together and be like, okay, so in the offseason, we're going to draft this, that, and the other. Free agency, we're gonna look for 2 or 3 guys, because obviously they're probably gonna need to find another goalie. Because I don't think Sanheim's gonna get called up as much as I want him to. Wait, Sanheim? Sorry, Sandstrom. And then you just go from there. You just go from there, and you just hope for the best. But ultimately, all you're doing is plugging in holes right now with vets, and letting the young guys develop for the next 2 to 3 years, and then. Hopefully, in that time frame, all your young studs are going to start breaking out at the same time. If it's Farabee 1 year, hopefully next year you get Zamula. The year after that, you get Forrester. The year after that, it's Bobby Brink. Just take the next 2 to 3 years. Just let these young guys develop. See what you need, see what you have, and go from there. There he is.
There's Robbie.
I talk about being a Mets fan for 5 minutes and I get booted by A2D. You see how that works?
Yeah.
Tommy heard that. He's like, nope.
Yep.
I was sent into live stream jail. No, totally kidding. My internet cut out.
By the way, Troy's saying, what is the Flyers' biggest need in terms of player? Well, like you said, Bry, coach is not a player, but a need. But on top of that, they do need that goal scorer that they've always needed. But they also need someone to step up and become the next captain. Now, we'll find out next year if anybody wants the role because we'll be rolling with A's most likely. But if someone wishes to step up during that season next year, whatever it may bring, may very well go to them. So that'll be another thing, too. You want a leader, you want an identity, you want someone to define the Flyers as you move forward into this new era for Philadelphia. Yeah, so that's another need that the Flyers have.
Sure. No, I agree with that. I mean, to me, reading that question, the first thing I thought of was this team's missing a power forward, a guy that can forecheck strong, a big brute of a guy. Yes, maybe can he score? That would be a plus, but just guy that can be physical and win battles in the offensive zone. It's a type of player Flyers haven't had in quite some time. It's why I wanted the Flyers to get like a Tyler Toffoli. He was exactly of that fit, and hopefully you can get that in the draft.
Yeah, and if not the draft, I'm sure there should be a free agent out there. I mean, power forwards are starting to become very common in the NHL, and these big guys that have that brute strength, they can sit there, they can take a beating in the front of the net, but they can stand their ground and create some traffic, and that's something the Flyers have not done a lot of in the last couple of years. And we've said this multiple times this season. They go for the flashy play instead of taking the dirty play and just being like, all right, let's just go get a dirty win.
Yeah.
Let's go get the dub. It counts the same. It's 2 points whether you get a flashy or dirty.
Well, that's true. That's true.
A lot of the times you see these teams like Toronto and Tampa Bay, Florida, not all their wins are clean. Not all their wins are pretty. But they go out and they get the dirty wins, and they all count the same.
So that's the end of the first period. The Flyers and Maple Leafs are scoreless through the first 20, albeit, though, both teams had power play opportunities, but the penalty kills rose to the occasion and denied the power plays on that. So Ted's saying, do you guys think G was a coach killer besides Laviolette, who would always say G is the best player in the world? I don't think it was G. I think it was just a lot of disorganization from the organization, and that didn't help anything, Plus also there was a lot of, coaching for 2 years and then you're pulled because the team wasn't doing good. It happened. How many coaches? They coach 1 year, Flyers make the playoffs. The year the Flyers would miss, they were fired. Same thing would happen. That cycle continued for a very long time, and it continued again with AV. Only difference is they gave AV 2 chances instead of just 1 to rebound.
I don't think he was a coach killer at all. In fact, I think he's helped elevate some coaches, and he's elevated the Florida Panthers. They are, I believe, since they acquired Claude Giroux, I believe they've only lost 1 game. And in the last 5 games that Giroux has, he has 7 points in 5 games. I don't know if I can call that a coach killer at all.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and I couldn't disagree more to the statement. I think if anything, he's always been a feather in the cap of every coach here. He's always been the type of captain that leads by example, supports, and instills the coach's message. I mean, AB never really, he wasn't very personal with the players, so maybe you're not going to see that relationship more than you saw with Bobby Lett. He's very personal with the players. Depends on the personality too.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. But his stat line since going over in 13 games played with the Florida Panthers, they're 12-1. 2 goals, 14 assists for 16 points. Goes to continue to prove that they never built enough around G. He's on a line with Carter. I think he's on this line. Carter Verhaeghe. It's Claude Giroux. I believe it's Barkov that he's on the line with. That's a sick line.
Yeah, it is.
That is a sick line. And Carter Verhaeghe is still young too, so he's going to be one of the guys who benefits the most from being on a line with essentially 2 captains. So, yeah, he was never a coach killer. He was never a coach killer. I think just the coaches themselves just didn't know how to elevate these players, and nobody they didn't build enough around them. I think that was G's biggest issue. It was they never built around him. They never gave him enough.
Nope. I mean, I've said it before. The organization failed G. G didn't fail us. It's the organization that failed. Meanwhile, at the same time, too, you're also talking about guys who were not as experienced at the head coaching position, too. Greg Berube had never been a head coach before, yet he had been an assistant coach. But once you step into the big role, it's like, oof, okay, it's a whole new, not completely new, but you're now in charge. You're the guy in charge. So it's a little bit of a different story. You're not the assistant coach. And he went through his trials and tribulations in Philly, and then he turned to St. Louis. And what do you know? St. Louis managed to make his system work. By the way, Braden Shen did thrive in that system, so it's no surprise why he's thriving in St. Louis. Also, Dave Haxtell, definitely inexperienced. He came out of the college scene and went into the NHL. So it's like that's a bold gamble to take that, to say, okay, we're going to take a college coach and put him in there. It's not just the NFL where it's a bold move. It's a bold move in any sport. Take a college coach, put him into the pro situation. It's a different mentality, different game altogether. So
he wasn't bad. He wasn't terrible. I mean,
no.
Again, it's a situation where they didn't build the team enough for him to really support him. I mean, in his tenure here, he made the playoffs every other year. Yeah,
and he also think about this too. Think about Coots. We were thinking he was a bust after the few seasons with Berube. Haxtell comes, and all of a sudden, Coots figures out how to play again. It's like, huh? Who knew? A college coach teaches a young player how to be good. Huh. Funny how that works.
One of his big reasons why they brought him in as a coach was he was good with young guys.
Yeah.
He was good with developing young players, and that was his whole biggest selling point was that. And you really saw it with the younger guys. Even TK had his best seasons with Haxtell.
Yeah, you're right. So it's been a very it's an example of the organization doesn't have a team that's completely built towards a coach, and at the same time you're not building around your superstar, and at the same time the organization is completely disorganized. It's when you got that kind of a combination going on, it's no surprise why the Flyers did not do anything during that decade and why they ultimately wound up being a first round out anytime they made the playoffs until 2020. So, all right. First period has come to a close. And with the first period over, the sponsor for that was Gleason's Bar and Grill. If you're ever in the Levittown, PA area, feel free to head on down to 6700 Mill Creek Ave. Use the promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or you go online at Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. Get yourself some good food there, and nothing like a great meal if you're paying a visit to the Pennsylvania area, or if you're just living, want to relax and have a good time, watch a little bit of some puck, or maybe watch a little basketball or what have you. Get yourself something good to eat. Always makes things better.
They have this one steak sandwich that looks amazing, and it's got a pork roll on it, and they don't know what pork roll is down here, and I hate it.
Tell me they don't call it Taylor ham.
They don't know what it is, period.
They're not even in the ballpark.
They don't even have. I understand they don't have Scrapple. Scrapple's like a PA thing, PA New Jersey thing, but they don't have pork roll down here anywhere. They don't know. I asked somebody what it was, and he looked at me with a funny face. Like, what the fuck is that? I looked at him, and with a judgy look, I'm like, you don't have pork roll down here.
Motherfucker's trying to hand you a pork tenderloin.
He kind of did. No. You're talking something like this?
Oh my god!
Take it out of his hand, slap him with it. No.
I want it much salty and more processed, please.
Yes. That sandwich over there looks amazing. So if you go to Gleason's, use the promo code HUD and tell them Brian from Hockey Happy Hour recommended that sandwich.
He said we got Ryan who's living in Levitt. He said he's from Levittown. He's now living a few towns over. So he's probably had a little bit of Gleason's Bar and steaks, man. It's probably real good.
Hey, yeah, head on over there, Swoopy. You'll get yourself a damn good sandwich over there.
All right. So, gentlemen, time for us to take a look back into the glory days, I think. Time for us to jump back into the history machine, and we're going to go all the way back to 1967, to the 1966-67 season. Why are we going all the way back to there? Because since the Flyers are facing the Maple Leafs, and it is currently 0-0, shots on goal were 15 from the Flyers, 12 from the Maple Leafs, in case anyone was wondering. I know no one probably cares at this point of whether the Flyers win or versus the Flames at this point, but all the same, we are going to go into the history books, and we are going to take a look at the first time that the Leafs and the Flyers met each other. And boy, oh boy, was it an interesting time, because let me just paint the picture. The Flyers never existed before until this season. They are a brand new expansion team brought in with 5 others. Same expansion that brought us the Pittsburgh Penguins and, a few others like the Kings and whatnot. And the Flyers are a fledgling organization. They don't really have an identity yet because, well, they're still new. They're still fresh. No one really knows what they're going to be at the end of the day. All you know is that if this team winds up pulling themselves together, maybe they can do something. Maybe. And they would eventually. But that isn't until the early 70s. All the same is the Flyers take on the Toronto Maple Leafs for the very first time in the Maple Leaf Gardens. And, needless to say, it was a very interesting situation. Imagine being an expansion team, though, and you're facing the Maple Leafs. An original 6 juggernaut. Had to have been terrifying for a team that was, just starting its existence.
Now, that's what I call a sticky situation.
Yeah. So in the Maple Leafs Gardens, the Flyers on January 24th, 1968, take on the Leafs for the very first time. And in that game, starting in that night for both teams was Bruce Gamble for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Doug Favell was playing for the Flyers that night. Yes.
He just recently passed away, didn't he?
Yes, he did actually. So
I think maybe 2001 or 2000. I don't know. The past 2 years have been all combined into one shithole. Go on, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to deny that.
Oh, and while we're here, thoughts and condolences on Mike Bossy, since we are in the wave.
Oh, yeah.
The New York Islanders legend, unfortunately, tragically passed away.
And a friend of HUD's, Chris Pronger's favorite player growing up.
Yep. All right, so the first period opens up here, and the first goal of that game was at 3:14, and it was the Philadelphia Flyers' Ed Hoekstrom getting his 14th goal of the year. Leon Rockford and John Mezuk were the assisters on that goal. The penalty went to Leon, and there was a penalty as well at 14:39 going to Leon Rockford for holding. So not a very exciting period, believe it or not. Go to the second period, and the Maple Leafs decided to tie it back up. At 3:11, it is a gentleman by the name of Bob Pulford, who scores his 12th of the year. He got assisted by Larry Hillman, and the Maple Leafs tied it all up. They also took a penalty at 4:17, and it was Mike Walton who got called for tripping. So third period comes in, tied at 1-1, and it is the Flyers' Claude Laforge who gets a goal at 11:34. He's not. Hey, Claude Giroux wasn't the only one who made big moves and made some clutch goals with the first name Claude. It was also a guy named Claude Laforge. No, he was not on the Cup teams. Anyway, he was assisted by Forbes Kennedy and Jim Johnson. It's a great name, Jim Johnson. Not a hockey name by any stretch of the imagination, but Jim Johnson.
Well, Jim Johnson's got that name has a lot of backing here in Philadelphia as he was one of the best defensive coordinators the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had.
Yes, so there you go. A magic name. And Benny Station saying, what's up? What's up, Benny? Just going through the first time the Flyers met the Maple Leafs back in January 24th of 1968. And there were some penalties in that game, by the way. Some penalties in that third period. It was at 17:55. Jim Johnson, again, he got called for tripping. So the Flyers had that penalty. Then Ron Ellis got called for tripping, who on the Maple Leafs at 19:45. He also got called for another tripping at the same time. So clearly he did something wrong that the refs didn't like. And they said, you're getting a double minor.
Everybody was tripping in the 60s, apparently.
Apparently.
Not just off the ice.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, that's how the game ends. And believe it or not, the Flyers won. The Flyers won their first ever meeting against the original six juggernaut of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And keep in mind, in this season, the Maple Leafs were defending Stanley Cup champions. So that's actually pretty impressive for an expansion team that had literally nothing to lose and everything to gain. You get a win on the defending Cup champs, your first time meeting them in the Maple Leaf Gardens, the arena that Conn Smythe built. Yeah, that's a nice victory right there for an up and coming unknown Flyers team that was just coming out of expansion.
What were you talking about earlier in the show about not wanting to root on the Maple Leafs? So the Flyers were the longest drought in the NHL, and it just so happens the first time they met was the year after they last won it, I assume.
Yes.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Put your money on Toronto.
After that, the shots on goal in the first period, it was 8-12 Maple Leafs. The second period, it was 13-12 Flyers. And then in the third period, it was 11-23 for the Maple Leafs. So in total, 47 shots for the Leafs, 32 for the Flyers. And goaltenders, Doug Favell, that night, he made 46 saves on 47 shots. Bruce Campbell made 30 saves on 32. The three stars of the game, number 3 was John Mazuk of the Flyers. Number 2 was good old Tim Horton for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was the number 2 star. Anyone out there from Canada, you might enjoy the restaurants bearing his name. I've always wanted to do that. That's one of my main things on the bucket list, is to actually go to Canada and have the Tim Hortons. I know it's a very weird thing to do, but you know what? It is on my bucket list, just out of pure curiosity.
No, not at all, dude. I crossed that one off.
Nice.
I've heard some great things about Tim Hortons.
Yeah, I enjoyed immensely.
They essentially said it was like it's like Dunkin' Donuts up there. They're like everywhere, but it's good. That's what I hear.
Interesting. Yeah, I still need to do that. I need to get my passport and head up to Canada just to do that. Not even really to do anything else. Like, I just came up for a Tim Hortons. I'll be honest with you. I'd love to see the reaction on their faces.
You don't need your passport for Canada, do you?
Yeah,
I thought you did. Yeah, I don't think you don't need it for Puerto Rico, but I think you need.
Because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Canada and I don't remember having to have a passport.
You do now. I don't think it was always in that existence. Sometimes you just have to show ID. It could be a driver's license, you know what I mean? But this was even before COVID. Now certainly after COVID, where travel restrictions gotta be viewing passports and what have you. But Maddie, my recommendation to you, my friend, go to Toronto. Speaking of which, go check out the Hockey Hall of Fame and just hang out on that street. And there's a Timmy Hortons, I believe. At some point during that main drag. Yeah, that was a good time. I'd go back there in a heartbeat.
Oh, there has to be a Tim Hortons near that Hockey Hall of Fame. I'd be very surprised if there wasn't.
Yeah.
So do we want to make that a Hockey Happy Hour road trip? We go up to Toronto to see the Hockey Hall of Fame and have some Tim Hortons?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm on board. I was about to say I'm too old for this shit, like kind of like Danny Glover, but I want to be more positive.
I am
like I
definitely
could
too
do
old for
anything
this shit.
if I want to.
I don't even want to drive home when I go home. You think I'm going to drive all the way from here to Canada? Fuck out of here, Maddie.
You could just fly up to Jersey and then we drive up from there.
How about I just fly straight to Toronto?
All right, number one star in that game was
The
Doug
only way I'm doing
Football. And so that pretty much ended that night. They even had the attendance on this site. 15,834 people witnessed the Flyers win the first ever game between the two clubs. So there you go. The Flyers in their first ever meeting, they actually beat the Maple Leafs 2-1.
Yeah. Now you know what to do. Put your money on Toronto, and if you're going to do it on Bet USA. Boom.
Interesting. All right. And so, let's see here. So the second period has just begun. So we'll see if anything changes on the score. Ted saying, they're never building around G. Thing is, it's not like there were these great free agents. Most of the teams who won was through draft and trades. Yager is the one we let get away. Well, to be fair, we didn't let him get away. We offered him a contract. He just chose to go to Dallas instead. I don't know.
Offered a little bit more money.
That's probably, yeah, that's what it was. They did offer a little bit more money. And he actually didn't even finish the year with them. I believe he left midway through that season.
Was that the year he got traded from Dallas to Boston?
Yes, I do believe that is it, because it was 2013. Yes.
And then he went to Florida.
Yep. Then he went to Florida. I think he was there for like 2 years. But then again, I could understand
2 or 3
why.
years, and then he was done.
Yeah. Then he went up to the Devils for a couple of seasons. And then he went to the Flames after that, and then that was it. He was retired from the NHL after that moment. So,
well, I don't think he ever officially retired. I mean, he's still. No, I see him on Instagram every once in a while posting the video saying that he's going to come back.
He didn't. Oh, okay. So he might come back to the NHL. Okay, he's like Gordie Howe. He'll just never retire.
I know it's an unpopular view, and it's even unpopular in my own head as I think it. But if he were to come back, one and only team that he's going to come back to, I think it'd be a great bookend. That's the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yeah. You know what I mean? That'd just be poetic justice.
Agreed.
Yeah. Let's see. Benny's saying the same team that had Ed Van Imp would use his mother to stop a puck if he could. True. Now that was before Ed Van Imp was the captain. He would take over the following year. What was his name? Was the first Lou Angotti. Lou Angotti was the captain of the Flyers that year.
Yep.
First ever captain in Flyers history.
Yep.
And then they go and say, "Get the Timbits."
I don't know what that means, but if I ever wind up in a Tim Hortons, I'm getting a Timbits just because Benny said so.
Yeah, and I think we put a little too much Tim Hortons energy out there because the Maple Leafs just scored, so it's 1-0.
What a ripper!
Yeah, and that was from Lil
Give me
Yager.
about 3 minutes to catch up.
I think it's is that Lil Yager or Lil Jaeger? I think it's Lil Jaeger. I think that's how you say that, man.
No, it's got to be Little Yager as we're talking about the subject.
Yeah, Lil Yager. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Yeah.
It would be fitting of a Jaromir Yager shot. He just ripped that top shelf over the glove hand. Jones was a little upset with himself, I think, because he didn't get out. He would have cut out the angle a little bit, got in front of the net. He would have had a better chance to make the save.
Benny's saying they have some in Buffalo area. Don't need to cross the border. But anyway, but no, you are right. And I think it's a Lil Jurgen. Okay, so Lil Jurgen. It's a
Lil
Lil
Wade?
Jurgen. Yeah,
What?
yeah. It's Little
Okay.
Jurgen. Little Jurgen scores on the Flyers. Yeah, I'm going to call him that from now on. He's Little Jurgen. Little Jurgen scores on the Flyers.
Lil Yagren. Lil
Ah.
Yagren.
He's Little Jurgen. That's the way his name is spelled to me.
You're just sexy as bumping in there and flipping that G in the R.
Little
Jurgen.
Jaeger bomb.
Lil
Little
Jurgen.
Jaeger bomb.
Yeah, Little Jagerbomb.
How you doing?
How you doing? How you doing?
Right, so saying Brian Daly and Rob Povia, was that video from earlier or awesome? What, the hockey sticks from all different NHL franchises and being made into several different things. And the hated Penguins being the ones who support them the most.
Yeah, that was awesome. I actually own 2 things actually that I think they may have made. Because when I was working for Pure Hockey, we would get all that kinds of stuff and
Nice.
everything that they would sell. So I have a bottle opener from a broken Nicholas Backstrom stick, and I have a snow brush that I barely use anymore. So that kind of seems like a waste of money. But that was a former Devil Prospects broken stick. So I mean, it's cool that they do that, and what they're doing with the whole thing is essentially giving men with special needs, adults with special needs, somewhere to go to work, and it was just an awesome story, and it's such a cool thing to do.
Yeah, a place called Classic Rock Auto Detail, excuse me. And that's in, I believe in your area, or in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. It just, it was a very heartwarming story. I was glad you shared that, and given individuals with developmental disabilities like an opportunity to work and earn. They even said like the unemployment rate in the disabled is 85% in adulthood, and that's just a shame because there's so many skills there that they're capable. You know what I mean? They just need the help. That's all. You know what I mean? Those that are newer to the show, I haven't talked about this a while, but I worked over 12 years in the special education field. I helped run a program called Men with Mops, where we brought the guys out in the community and did jobs for local restaurants. It was the disability center was based with Rutgers, so we were up in there working in their buildings and stuff like that. And it's just a tremendous win-win, and we need more organizations like that for sure.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
And then to create those wonderful like keepsakes, like I'd love a grill set, a Flyers grill set from a couple broken sticks from TK bagging it over his head after missing it at Top Shelf. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty happy. Oh, good chance there by TK.
Speaking of which, he's probably just broke another one. Boom.
He may have. He looked like he broke something. Maybe chipped his skate blade or something when he took that fall and that shot. But yeah, I mean, it's an awesome story, and it's good because they, just like everybody else, they want to be accepted and not feel like that they're outcasts or anything like that, and they shouldn't be treated that way. So it's a great story, and yeah, Robbie, these things are pretty legit. Like if Pure Hockey sells that stuff, so if you're ever find yourself near Pure Hockey, stop in there, grab one, man.
Yeah, man.
It's the only reason why I have them.
Yeah, no, I get you. No, it's definitely a tremendous story, and good on them. You know what I mean? Definitely good on them.
Absolutely. What's up, Don? Ow! What's up, buddy? My little sweet.
Well, brother.
I probably should have added that little in front of, or my in front of that. I should have just said little sweet, but that's fine.
Well.
Don's my dude. He knows.
Yeah.
He ain't like that. But what's up, Pete? Pete agrees to the poll. Dylan chiming in as well, saying, what's going on, guys? Late to the party. About the little first round playoff preview with the Flames versus Preds coming on now.
No, there you go. By the way, next week, since this is the last week of us doing live reactions to the Flyers, I think, gentlemen, next week would be a perfect opportunity for us to properly preview the playoffs, don't you think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, good idea. Right the week before. Hopefully by then we might have a little bit better idea of who will be on that last spot in the Western Conference, but who knows? That may very well just come down to the wire because those two teams are still pretty close.
Yeah, man. Matter of fact, jumping ahead to the shootout, that's going to be the game of sort of the extended week. I had to pick this game. Next Tuesday is the Golden Knights. They travel to Dallas to take on the Stars. Like, that's going to be a barn burner. Yeah. I mean, depending on what happens between now and then, that could be for all the marbles.
Yeah, absolutely. Don, yeah. It just kind of came out.
Yeah, all you see is
no explanation for it.
We just see from.
I was gonna say before, Brian. From now on, when you sign in here for your nameplate, you gotta put a little sweetness. You have to. A little sweet. Or a little sweet. Excuse me. You have to. I require it.
Brian is now the little sweet of A2D radio.
It's perfect, man. I'd say, like, dude, that's you, man. Do you do those commercials? You sound just like him.
Like that? Maddie's got to put the comment down.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, you can change it while you're on there? I didn't know that.
Bro, you used to do it to me all the time.
Yes, he did. Right. Hold on, let me pull down the poll questions.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah. There you go. Well done, Dales. Well done.
The little sweet.
I'm here to please the people.
Yes. The people pleaser, little sweet of A2D radio, Mr. Brian Daly.
The people and their mothers.
Of all ages.
No. Of that 35 to 45 range.
No. Even above that, even above the 45.
Hey, listen, don't put your standards out for me.
No. It's not my standards, but you got to understand when you become little sweet, you sign on that dotted line. You got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. Got to read that fine print there, bro. Got to read that fine print.
There's a nice little short little word I like to use. It's called no.
As a wise man once said, nope.
Yup.
All right. Ryan's saying, Rob, do you remember Ben Wilson on the Flyers?
Ben Wilson? I'm sorry, I don't. What year was I talking? 80s?
I
have to look him up.
I'm trying to remember if it was the 80s or if it was the 90s. Because I don't think it was. It wasn't the 70s. Troy's like, what happens after next week? Well, after next week, it'll be the playoffs. So, it'll be big time for us then. That's when we get a lot of chaos in the chat, usually. Because we usually get all the fan bases coming in then. We're like, yeah, my team's going to win. Well, your team sucks. I know.
I love chaos.
Yeah, he played for the Flyers from 78 to 83. He was a little bit before my time, not much. Maybe I caught him at the tail end, but I was more kind of late 80s, early 90s. Is when I got into it, and he traveled to the Blackhawks too. But looks to be a solid defenseman, 6'3", 210 pounds. Looks like a bruiser to me.
That sounds like a big boy.
Yeah.
Well, back then, man, you used to get those big boys, and they used to just throw the body around like nobody's business and get into some nice fights. Those are some innocent days. Just those sweet days when you didn't have to get complicated to build a hockey team. Now you have to.
Sweet days.
Well played there,
I'm
Brian.
here to
Well
please the
played.
people. That's what
You are.
why
And Don
Tom
Dunn
Brady did.
summarizes it well. All the grandmas on Facebook are going to find Brian Tinder.
Thank God I don't have Tinder. Although there are some good-looking grandmas in that 40 to 45 range because, the daughter don't know how to keep the legs shut. Hi, Eileen. You came in at possibly the worst time possible.
We're all doing fine, though, this evening.
I've been better.
We hope you're doing well.
I started something I shouldn't have, and now, obviously, these boys are doing what they always do and taking it and running.
Oh, yes. Very much. It's the running
This is
gag.
my resignation. It's been fun working with you guys. I'm going to stick with Durham.
Okay,
And
so
by that, I mean nothing of that is true.
we've made Brian quit once again. We've done that so many times. We should get a counter going for that, or at least
have one. And then Broda decided to. Never mind. I'm not going to.
You say that now. Now Bro's going to isolate this and say, "Okay, time to make that happen now."
He abandoned us.
Oh no! I was gonna say, if not a counter, we should have like this many days since Brian said he would last quit the show, and then just set it to 0 every time.
Maddie, if you think this is bad, like imagine me at my other job. Like I quit every 5 minutes. I quit at least 4 times a day. Yes, Eileen, you heard that absolutely correct. Like I said, you came in at the worst possible time. This is what Flyers live reactions have turned into because obviously it's not great hockey to talk about.
Nope. And Flyers are still down 1-0 because little Jurgen got his goal there, and I'm still going to call him that. It's like when I see Asplund from the Sabres, I call him Asplug. So I have to.
His name is Lillegren.
Okay.
I know it's
Lillegren.
Yeah, but the name on the jersey, it's Liljergen. I'm gonna call him Little Jurgen. I don't care.
Maybe it's little Jurgens.
Little Jurgens.
Yeah,
put a little Jurgens on your elbow, man. Make
Oh dear Lord. I thought what I was talking about today was bad. It was bad. I'm not even sitting in front.
Oh,
that's bad.
And guess what? The Flyers gave themselves a goal. It's 1-1.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. And guess who scored it? The guy who's been scoring all the time since the Flyers have not been competitive in the playoffs. None other than good old JVR himself.
Build that trade value, baby.
Hell yeah. That salary's coming down next year.
About before, though,
he's probably most likely traded.
I mean, let's be real. What Maddie? What were you and I talking about when Robbie decided to go AWOL on us and just abandon us there and give me more issues than I already have because of abandonment?
Talking about
getting into the dirty areas and getting some dirty goals.
Yeah. Yep, and that's exactly what JVR did right there. Got right in front of the Jack Campbell's face, and he got a puck right by him.
Yep, picked up the rebound, just stuffed it right through. Speaking of somebody keeping their legs spread wide open, look at Jack Campbell right there. No wonder why it got in there.
Eileen, did you say someone is not keeping their legs shut? Did I hear wrong? No, you did not. And Brian just keeps coming back to it. A lot of splits.
I wish I could say I had alcohol in my system for that, but I don't. It's just one of them days.
And Ryan saying he absolutely stood guys up at the blue line and never allowed them to easily get into the offensive zone. He attacked them in transition. He scared the heck out of guys, took way too many foolish penalties, which was why he got traded. I see.
Oh, so he sounds like Dan Carcillo.
Yes. The Flyers had a habit of getting a lot of guys like that back then. But,
about guys like that, though, as much as the stupid penalties, played a huge factor, you have to look at this in this perspective. Guys like Dan Carcillo and this guy, Ben Wilson, it sounds like that, he made guys uncomfortable with the puck because they knew they got in the defensive zone or in the offensive zone, it was going to not end well. It's probably going to take a hit. And, you have to, obviously, in that situation, you move the puck a little bit quicker than normal because you're not trying to get laid out. So you create turnovers that way. So to have more guys like that is never a bad thing, in a matter of speaking.
True. Eileen's saying it's sundress season. Legs need to be closed.
Haha, sundress season. More.
And you're about to step in it again.
I'm done.
And Eileen's saying, I need a glass of wine with these games. Fucking crazy.
That's we need a glass of wine for this show.
Those big ones, like from the meme.
Yeah.
And then Dante, he's like, Jesus Christ, Brian's unhinged today.
I'm extremely tired. I haven't had a day off in a week and a half.
Goddamn, dude.
How's the job going for Durham?
Bro, I'm stealing money from them.
Nice.
I'm stealing money from them. I'm literally getting paid to walk around the stadium, which is great. Beautiful ballpark. It's a gorgeous ballpark. The outfield is, they have the left field, they call it the Little Blue Monster. So it's pretty high up from the field, and it's amazing. I walk around the stadium and I just answer questions for people. Where's this? Where's that? Do you have this? Do you have that? It's either yes or no. Follow me. Let's go, just head over to guest services. We'll explain the situation. We'll get that taken care of. So, it's simple stuff like that. But if I don't have anybody to help, I get to sit there and watch fucking baseball. I'm getting paid to watch baseball. I love it. And all the people I work with are super nice too. Like, they're awesome. And as you can tell, this is great. One of my work shirts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's what reminded me of it. It's sweet, man. You know what's funny is that over the course of time with research in my baseball column, AAA Durham has come up so much. Like, it's like in terms of, guys getting called up to fill for an injured player, but also too some guys. I believe they're affiliated with Tampa Bay Rays. I'm correct with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're gonna get eventually you're gonna get like Luis Patino rehabbing down there. There's another example too that's fleet in my head right now that I was just writing about, but. Anyway, you should be seeing a lot of talent this summer down in there in Durham.
Yeah, I mean, depending on when the series is and how long the rehab stint goes, there's a possibility I get to see Ronald Acuna because Gwinnett and Durham are in the same division.
Yep.
So I'll get to see them. Memphis is the next home stand, so I'll get to see some of them. I'm not sure who to look at for the Redbirds. Then I'm looking forward to June when Lehigh Valley decides to come down and see a little bit of the homeboys, and I'm excited for that one. I'm excited for that series, even though I know the Iron Pigs aren't going to be that good because we have no farm system. But I love it. It's an amazing job. Like I said, I work with great people. I get to talk baseball pretty much all day, and I get to watch. I'm essentially getting paid to watch at least 4 innings of baseball. And when my shift is over at 8:30, I can sit and watch the rest of the game.
There you go.
Like, come on.
That is nice.
It's awesome.
That is.
It's awesome. Charlotte's another team. The Knights will be coming around too as well. So Eileen's next comment actually just reminded me of that.
And Don also saying Lucas Raymond scored. And yeah, Eileen saying had a friend years ago that lived in Charlotte, and we went to see games at Durham. Great ballpark.
Beautiful ballpark.
Anybody ever dress in cosplay like Costner and Susan Sarandon? No.
The cosplay, no, but I've seen a couple people in the opening homestand that had a couple Crash Davis jerseys.
Nice.
Which actually is really funny because they retired that number for that reason.
Really?
It's actually a retired number. But the thing that confuses me, and I was talking about this with one of the guys that I met, and I was like, well, if they retired Crash's number, why didn't they retire Nuke's 37?
Because he went to the show. He didn't stay there that long.
Yeah, but you're retiring.
You can't retire Meat's number. He was Meat. Dumbass job.
I mean, he was a dumbass, but he turned himself into a damn good pitcher.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got called up.
He did get called up. He got called up in September for the roster expansion.
Eileen's comment here.
But if you don't have Nuke in that, and they say I'm bad.
Eileen, back in the day, I'd lick Costner's chest.
I mean, why are you lying? You would do that tomorrow if you ran into Kevin Costner. Come on now.
I would still do that today. I'm not even here. If he sat there and said, "Lick my chest," I'd be like, "Okay." It's Kevin Costner. Are you kidding? This dude starred in 2 of my favorite baseball movies of all time, and then he was in Man of Steel.
Of course, it'd be funny though if you did that and then you say "I loved you" in Dances with Wolves. So be like, "Wow, you not even the one you should have said."
I think that would create a lot more problems than the problems we would already have on hand if I did that.
Yeah, probably.
This is what happens when we don't have entertaining hockey to watch.
Yes, this is exactly what happens. I only say guilty. Yes, sir.
I'm no better. If I ran to like Christie Alley tomorrow, it'd be on.
I mean, let's be real. If Susan Sarandon popped up and game on. Game on.
Well, I guess I should have given the tangible example. And Susan Sarandon, I don't think there's been a sexier actress, at least during my era of watching Hollywood, than Susan Sarandon. What I mean by that, I don't even mean by like objectifying sexually. I mean charisma. Like, you know what I mean? You talk about like all these male actors that were known for their charisma. I think she was the best with charisma on screen.
First of all, before I comment on yours, because I completely agree with you,
Yep.
Don Don and Troy, both of y'all are trash. You ain't talking about Superman like that. Man of Steel is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. And okay, all right.
Troy's
he did come back with Batman. But still.
Oh, I just watched the Batman last night.
Not a
nice.
You
haven't watched it yet? It's on HBO Max.
It is.
That doesn't help me. I don't have HBO Max.
Well, I thought maybe you did. I don't know what apps you have.
I have all those movies right here.
Well, I'm just saying it would help if you can't have a day off to go to the theaters. At least you can come home after a long day and you can, go to HBO Max and watch Batman.
Look at this. Look at this. The only reason why I would get freaking HBO Max is for all that. I already have it all. And for everybody at home, you just got a view from my apartment. So how's that?
Brian, I'll give you my password after the show, Brian. You're good.
But then I have to download it, though. I don't know how much I have left on my PlayStation.
Oh. And the Maple Leafs just scored on their power play. So it is now once again a 1-goal lead for
we blew Don Don.
I felt it coming. They were just swarming like bees.
That's what she said.
Hey-o. Hey-o. Oh my God, you're genius tonight, Brian. Genius.
Oh my God. It's been bad.
Genius.
But yes, I'll give Troy the benefit of the doubt there on the Batman comment. Susan Sarandon is absolutely. She's still.
Wow. Yeah.
Aquaman was not better than Superman.
No, I don't think he was.
I will come to Detroit. We're gonna have a problem.
I agree. I'm with you, Brian. I'm hearing you too. You're not. I hear no lies.
So who's?
I like Aquaman, but it is not better than Man of Steel. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Flash rated be the best superhero movie of all time. Just saying.
I'm so excited for that movie. Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Stop it. Wolverine sucked.
I mean, Spider-Man is pretty damn good too.
Oh, I was not sold on this movie at all, and I thought the first 2 Spider-Man movies were trash.
Oh. Yeah, I hear you.
Movie, No Way Home, was really, really good.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's not the greatest Marvel movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely moved into my top 5.
So Nylander got the goal on that power play. Marner getting the assist. He has 62 assists on the year. So, Jesus.
Marner's having a hell of a year. I mean, they were questioning a lot with him as far as having an off year last year. A lot of questions with him. Do they move him? Do they not move him? What happens? I think he's pretty much cemented himself in Toronto now that he's had this huge rebound year.
Eileen was asking you how the weather was in North Carolina since she's in southern Delaware and it's hot.
She's not. I mean, the weather's not too far off from you. I mean, it's been a kind of chilly the last couple of days. We had some cool air and rain yesterday, and it was warm today, but it wasn't like I could have been out in like a hoodie and shorts and been fine, or a t-shirt and jeans and been fine, but it's not crazy. It's gonna warm up by the end of the weekend. It was cool. I enjoyed it, but it's not better than Man of Steel.
Eileen's saying, to you all, who is your favorite Batman? Keaton is mine. Favorite. What's up?
Mine's Batfleck.
Batfleck.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
And then Michael Keaton, very close second.
I will say it's probably Michael Keaton for me. For a while it was Bale, but then after a while, as I started to get a little older and more cynical, I realized it's too easy to make fun of the voice. Keaton took it back. He took it back.
I've been quoted on the show saying that there's two kinds of people: those who think Michael Keaton's the best Batman, and those who are wrong. But I'm going to read you what I wrote to my brother last night. See if I can find it real quick. Pattinson put his hat in the ring with this movie because I think he does well how he portrays the Batman as just as insane as the villains. Only he uses his lunacy for good rather than evil. And that's what I remember reading from the detective fiction novels. You know what I mean? That he's just as fucked up in the head as the Joker and the Riddler. But there's two ways that you can use insanity. Doesn't always have to be for villainy, you know what I mean? And that's what I got from this movie. Hopefully that didn't ruin anything for anyone. No spoilers.
No, there was no spoiler in there. I mean, like I've heard
Interesting.
So many good things about this movie, from Robert Pattinson to Zoe Kravitz to essentially the entire cast, and just that it was well written and that it's not going to be something that is considered traditional as far as some of these. Like, I don't like the idea of the Riddler wearing a mask, essentially.
Right.
Like, I think they're trying to portray him off a little bit as Hush. But, you can never... I'm not going to really know for sure until I actually see the movie. But yes, Troy, I'm dissing Wolverine. I thought all those movies were god-awful. And with Batfleck, were those movies great? No. Was Rob Schneider's Justice League better? Absolutely. 1,000 times better. The thing I liked about Ben Affleck as Batman was they brought maybe not so much the traditional detective back, but the brute strength, I'm going to break every bone in your body type of Batman. He's not so much using his gadgets as he is using his brute force.
Right.
I thought it was the best Batman costume since the original Batman.
True. Yeah, and the costume there.
As an older Bruce Wayne, I don't know if I could imagine anybody else being better than Ben Affleck. As it's just his portrayal as of an older Bruce Wayne, I thought was pretty spot on. And I was kind of like, you're looking at like all these movies, like you can sit here and debate all day who the best Batman was, but if you look at each individual person who played Batman minus George Clooney, because that was just a hot trash
all around
on a 105 degree day, just reeking of terribleness. They all bring something different to the ring. It's just, what do you like better? It doesn't necessarily mean that Christian Bale was better than Ben Affleck or Michael Keaton was better than Val Kilmer, but they all brought something different, and that's kind of what I liked about them all.
Gentlemen, I think when we get to the off season, the off season after we're done with the free agency period, we might have to revisit this topic. We might have to go into the Batman films and see which one's the best one, in our opinion, of course.
Oh, that's already easy. That's Batman Returns. Best Batman movie. No, I'm sorry. I lied. Second movie is right. Wrong set of movies. The Dark Knight is the best one.
Gotcha. Well, we could definitely revisit that and keep going on this subject in the near future. After we've crowned a Stanley Cup champion, of course. And let's see. Also, by the way, Don saying, damn it, Pove, now I can't watch the movie now.
He's acting like he ain't probably seen it yet. I know that.
Yeah.
I know
What did I say?
He's being Don.
Yes, he is.
I know. What I will give Affleck, though, real quick before we move on from the subject, is that, yeah, older Bruce Wayne for sure plays well, but he plays like the playboy side of Bruce Wayne the best out of think of any of the actors. So, and I think that's sometimes missing on some of the other performances. Also, too, and it's a shame he's no longer with us, but do you know who I always thought would have always played a great like Batman Beyond as that like the really old Bruce Wayne like from the animated series?
I think I know where you're going with it.
Sean Connery.
Not where I thought you were going with that.
Really?
That would have been interesting. Sean Connery as the old Bruce Wayne.
Well, you think a guy his claim to fame was Bond, but from Bond, and that was gadgetry. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, you know what I mean? There's kind of a similarity there a little bit, but I just thought in terms of that, I think of another playboy and just like looking like a rugged, handsome old, older man.
I see where your logic is. It does make sense. I wonder who would play Terry. That's an interesting. I wonder who would be his protege. Who would be the actor playing him? That would be interesting.
Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World.
Might
If he was already the voice, why not just give him the role?
as well. Just go full force with it. Let's see. Chris saying, sup, boys. JVR is the Joker for all the money he steals from the Flyers. Well, he won't be stealing nearly as much next year. And then Don says, I've seen the movie like 3 times already.
I just saw Spider-Man for the first time like a couple days ago.
Let's see here. Chris saying TK is the Riddler, tricking you into thinking he is really good. And then Troy saying, haven't seen it yet. And Chris saying, Ken Hitchcock is the Penguin because just look at him. Damn. By the way, what's up, Chris?
Well done, Chris. What's up, brother?
Yeah, we haven't seen them all show until now.
Yeah, we do deserve better. That's why we're talking comic books right now.
We're talking Batman at this point. We're not even remotely talking about the game.
But we probably should talk about the game. I don't think I've actually watched a minute of the second period.
I mean, there's been a few moments, but to be honest with you, it's been a prototypical Flyers game where they're trying, but they're facing a team that's playoff bound, and maybe I wouldn't say that they're going hell bent for leather here. The Maple Leafs are. I think they're still playing tough though. They're still playing as best they can. But I don't think they're going. Well, maybe now they are with that hit, but but all the same though, it's a typical game for the
one plus I will say though is they're out shooting Toronto by nine shots right now. So I mean that's a huge plus. But I still I don't think I've ever really seen them make any really sustain any offensive pressure long term. I've seen a lot of it from Toronto, and I've seen some good forechecking from some players like Nate Thompson right here. But I haven't seen any real sustained, even in the first period, there wasn't really much sustained offensive pressure.
Yeah. Don not saying you don't make any topic fun. Well, thank you, Don.
Damn right. You're damn right.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, that would be a good segment to go down the whole Flyers roster and equate them to a Marvel or DC character.
The problem is, though, we can totally do that, but I don't know if they have anybody to fill the role of Captain America.
No.
Not right now. That was Claude Giroux, who's ironically Canadian, but
Still, the best Marvel movie ever.
Because I would say Coots. I would say Coots, but he's more of like Beast from
Yes,
from X-Men.
From X-Men, yeah. No doubt about that.
I could see it. I could see where you get that one from.
but yeah, Winter Soldier still by far. Well, I should say.
Oh my God, what a
Still
play!
the best.
What a play by the Maple Leafs. Just shat all over the Flyers. And Jason Spezza sends it home.
Yeah, I'm still wild out.
Still, though, you'll see it. You'll see it in a moment.
Tic-tac-toe. You win the battle in front, pass it back, and you have the two wingers come around. 2-on-0 on the goaltender.
Oh, wow.
Tic-tac-toe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see, beautiful play.
Oh, wow.
And Simmons set it up, too. Simmons to Spezza, back to Spezza, boom.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you see the power forward move to set up the play?
Yeah.
That's what the Flyers are missing. Maybe that they haven't had since Wayne Simmons.
That's a good point.
I mean, I hate to agree with it, but it's true. It's actually Wayne Simmons who looked like he set the play up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
100%.
had. Oh my God! Of course, it's Yandel who finds a way to trip, but creates a play, breaks Yandel's ankles, and it's a 2-on-1.
He really did. Yandel really did break his ankles there.
You to say Wayne Simmons broke my ankles in the game. I don't. Maybe I should just retire now.
Yeah. All the Flyers fans in unison cheer like, yes, Yandel retired. Thank God. Oh, Eileen's saying gotta run. So love to us all. Love to you, Eileen.
Love to you, Eileen. Stay safe up there.
Yeah. And Troy saying, yep to the Flyers. Brian being into MILFs and superheroes. Y'all got it all.
Don't pretend like you're not into
naughty.
MILF. Everybody loves a good MILF.
Yeah.
Everybody enjoys a good MILF. If you say no, you're a liar.
Yeah. You're a fucking liar.
We should bring back in the off season. We haven't done it in a hot minute. Smash, Marry, Kill.
Oh, that's asking for trouble, but absolutely.
And now
we love trouble here.
And now we can just call it what it is. Fuck, Marry, Kill. Now,
Yeah. We
Yeah.
don't have to call it smash. We can call it fuck, marry, kill.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be doing that too. We'll be talking about the Batman film some more. And fuck, marry, kill. Yeah. I think we've got our off season pretty much ready to go after the free agency.
Yo, what's up, Evan? I see you in the chat. Check Evan out every Monday night on the Flight Zone. Him and Jimmy fucking kill it every goddamn week. Like those two, and they take some abuse to do what they do. They do. But, they stand tall. They hold their ground. Good for them. Check them out on the Flight Zone.
That's what happens when you deliver the hot takes, man.
That's true.
Everybody wants to argue with the contrarian point of view.
Yeah. It's funny. Even if you don't necessarily believe in it, it's always fun to throw it out there just to piss somebody off.
Right. Like Dirk Nowitzki is the greatest NBA player of all time. Anybody
there you go.
He knows what I'm talking about.
Now the whole world blows up.
Great. Well, I would put him in the top 10 for sure.
See? Bry's already disagreeing.
But I don't necessarily disagree. But would I put him in the number one spot? No. Is he a top 10 of all time? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does he deserve to be in the conversation? Absolutely. Is he my number one? No. But
by the way, Don said that he agrees with you on the Winter Soldier being the best Marvel film.
You're damn right. You just redeemed yourself. Now I gotta wait a half hour for my MLB TV to load so I can watch a little of the Phillies lose.
And Anthony's saying, hey guys, who's winning the Flyers game? The Maple Leafs are 3-1.
What's up, Ant?
Yeah, what's going on? Chris saying Comcast is Thanos, destroying half the team in our hearts. I don't disagree. I really don't.
Snap of the finger.
Here's the thing, though. Is that not the most fitting description, though, for them, to be honest with you? Because, like, they own almost everything. They are literally, they've got the equivalent of an Infinity Gauntlet of fucking cable systems and shit like that. It's like, Jesus. Is there anything Comcast doesn't fucking own? Let's see here.
In that area, there's not much they don't own.
Yeah, pretty much. Dylan saying nothing in the Flames game after the first. Damn, Vladar should start in net more often for Calgary. Flames playing a game last night is showing. Oh boy.
I apparently missed a spot when I was trimming my beard the other day.
Yeah.
And then Anthony's saying, MILFs are the best. You get good home cooking and lots of rest.
Yeah, lots of rest. Because you're going to need it.
Madonna
all
saying,
I'm gonna say on that.
asking
got
for
myself
trouble.
enough
The
to
show is nothing but trouble.
You're damn right. And I'm
Damn
going to keep
right.
it that way.
Troy's saying he never watched Infinity War. I'll let the chaos ensue.
Seriously?
That's all you got to say, though, in like a room full of people. Just say, I've never watched Infinity War, and everyone will single you out as an uncultured swine.
Wait, you've never seen Infinity War? I was in my top 3. That's actually my number 2 movie.
Yeah, I concur.
It's Winter Soldier, that, and I would probably put Spider-Man right now as my number 3. All right. So
you can load at any point now.
the second period has come to a close. So we'll bring you All Campus OC. They're giving off 20% off everything in the store, including hats, shirts, and their team cornhole sets to all subscribers. So get subscribed up as quickly as possible. And, of course, follow us on the social medias and everything. And listen, if you got any chance to, go down to Ocean City, New Jersey. Take a look at All Campus. John's got a great shop down there. He also hosts the ramp booth, which is awesome. So go check it out. It's absolutely worth the trip.
Come out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs.
Definitely go visit All Campus, but unfortunately this week I believe they're going to be in Vegas for their show for the NFL draft. So, but still go check them out. Definitely check them out.
Still though, at the end of the day though, have fun out there.
I wish. There it goes.
All righty. So, gentlemen, with the second period officially coming to a close, it's now time for us to have a little bit of a debate. Since the playoffs are right around the corner, we are 2 weeks away. We don't know who the top performers of the playoffs of the 2020s are yet. I mean, the reason why is because we're not out of the 2020s yet. We still have a whole other portion of the decade left to go before we can officially come to that conclusion. But the 2010s have come and gone. So we can have the debate. Who do we think was the best playoff performer or performers in the 2010s?
I feel like that's not as much of a debate as I think it's going to be.
Maybe.
I mean, there's 2 teams that come to mind for me, and one of them is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know you don't want to hear it. I know that some of these guys in the chat don't want to hear it, but look at the amount of success that that team has had throughout. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, what?
Troy, gotta take out the trash. It'll remind me of the Flyer season. Be right back.
But yeah, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. They built that team around Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Fleury, Letang, all those guys, and look at all the success they had. And you don't want to hear it, but this team has been consistent for what feels like forever about making the playoffs and having successful runs to the playoffs. I mean, since 2010, they've won 3 times. 3 times.
Now, who
Well,
would
I
you
actually have
pick
to come
though?
back a little bit for the third one, but you know what I
Is it Crosby? I guess that you're saying, like in terms of the sole best performer, or do you think it was more team with the greatest player in the NHL?
I think it was team with the greatest player in the
Yeah.
NHL, because if you want to go down, like, go specifics, I mean, just one player doesn't make the team better. You look at Edmonton. Edmonton has the best player in the world right now, and they haven't won shit.
Right.
You know, the one thing that Pittsburgh has done well was create a good pipeline of youth, and you know, they just kept the door rotating. You know, they built successfully around guys like Crosby and Malkin, and they created good defensive core led by Letang. And then you have Marc-Andre Fleury, who's arguably one of the best goaltenders of our generation. Well, I shouldn't say of ours, of this generation. And you know, they've always just figured out ways to win hockey games. And whether it was Mike Sullivan or Mike Johnson or whoever it was before him, and then Dan Bosma, like, they just figured out ways to win hockey games and win playoff series and win Stanley Cup. So, you know, that's one of the teams I would absolutely consider is the Pittsburgh Penguins is one of the best playoff teams of 2010.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I mean, the other contrarian view that I was given before was more of a quote from Tacoma FD, not a personal belief with Dirk Nowitzki. Yeah, you got it now. But
I got you now.
I went real contrarian in my suggestions here. But first, I have a question. Would you consider Danny B more of the 2000 to 2010, or do you think he could still qualify for 2010 to 2020?
Now, are we talking because of his career, or are we talking about his career with the Flyers?
Yeah, I was mostly basing it more on his career because, you know, it's talking about a guy with 53 playoff goals, 63 playoff assists. Got to be one of the best, if not the best, playoff performers of all time, but certainly of that era. I kind of misread the assignment and was looking more at 2000 to 2010. And now I'm seeing it's more for the decade that we're coming out of, and that makes a lot of sense.
I would still be able to put Danny B in that because he still played in the playoffs in the 2010s. So
he did, right? So he'd still qualify. But in the true, I mean, I will reassess on the fly to be true to the assignment. But I mean, it's still got to give credit to a man, all-time great right there, in Danny B. I'm going to go with Justin Williams. How about that contrarian view? Mr. Game 7.
Mr. Game 7. Justin Williams. That's a good one. And Danny B, you know, I mean, you could throw him into the 2010s because he did play decently into the 2010s. I think his last year was 2014 or 2015 with the Canadiens. So he still played a good first half of the 2010s. He was still there. And I get it, though, because in the early 2000s, even with Buffalo, he had several OT goals, one against the Flyers, that unfortunately ended a lot of playoff hopes and dreams. Thank God we went and grabbed him, so that never happened again. But, you know, for 2010, I would say for the 2010s for me, Patrick Kane obviously has to get thrown out there. I mean, the man was a freaking animal in the playoffs. I mean, they called him Showtime for a reason. When the lights were on bright and you needed a clutch goal, no one did it better than he did, really, when you think about it. Because why is it that everybody hated the Blackhawks? For one reason and one reason only, because you knew it was coming. You didn't know when, you didn't know how, but you knew even if you had the Blackhawks down by like 3 goals, Kane was going to get something going, and he was going to score either 1 or 2 goals, and the Blackhawks were going to win the fucking game. That's just how it was. And that's how he turned everything around. Like, the man literally just consumed playoff games easily and just said, yeah, whatever. We're down by 2. I'll score that in like 5 minutes. And he would do it. He'd go out there and fucking do it. It's like, Jesus. I would freaking murder him.
I piss on your lead.
Well, first of all, I'm going to turn my camera off just because you guys do. I don't want to be.
That's a complete. All right, so now to be contrarian, I'm going to turn my camera on.
Hot take, contrarian.
you gotta also throw Patrick Sharp into that if you're gonna throw Kaner in there too. So Patrick Kane, another one, or Patrick Sharp, another one who was a huge part of the 3 Stanley Cups that they won in that span of that dynasty run that they've had. You could really throw anybody from the Chicago Blackhawks roster into this conversation, and they all played a major part. Whether it be Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook, Patrick Sharp, Jonathan Taves, who's another guy you could throw out there. Corey Crawford, not the best regular season guy, but when it came to the playoffs, the dude turned it up. You want to go flip a coin here? Let's flip to LA. Jonathan Quick. He's big part of the big reason why they won a couple cups. Dustin Brown had the C on his chest for a while. Unstoppable player, a little bit of he's still a scumbag in my book, but Andre Kopitar had a great run during those. Drew Doughty, people don't like Drew Doughty. I'm a big Drew Doughty fan. I think he's a great defenseman. His number is going to be retired in LA when he retires. Big part of that organization, big part of the success that the organization has had. You can even throw Jeff Carter's name out there as well with the Kings and during their playoff push in the 2010s. So
and 2010 with the Flyers.
Mm-hmm. Even in 2010 with the Flyers, that's 3 opportunities at a cup for him there. Obviously, getting 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
Okay, I wasn't sure. It was Richie who has 1.
That ain't bad.
No, it ain't bad at all. That's 66%. It's above average, way above average.
Yeah, most players only get to 1. Lundqvist only ever got to 1 in that entire time, and he lost it to the Kings.
Yeah, to the Kings.
Ironically, you bring up a name in Patrick Sharp, could make a nice Batman, I think.
He does. He has the playboy look, and he was a hockey player, so he wasn't afraid of dropping them a few times. So.
He's got that jawline too. Like he's got like that hand. Like I'm a handsome guy. This is my jawline. That's just.
I'm a handsome guy. This is my jawline. That's a great line, right there.
I had that jawline. I do. I had his jawline. I'm stuck with this mess.
I think that's the
face because I'm stuck with this mess.
That should be like the line for every guy who's got that rugged, like chiseled jawline, that strong jawline with the good looks. That should be their opening line to every hot chick when they walk into the bar. Is like, I'm a handsome guy and this is my jawline.
Imagine you're sitting at the end of the bar, right? People watching. This guy walks into the bar, right? Sees a girl. Can I buy you a drink? Why would I let you buy me a drink? Look at this jawline.
Yeah. Then there's sploosh.
I'm sitting on the other side of the bar. Well done.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Man, everybody's right. I am in rare form tonight. And some people probably chiming in here is like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah. That's the best part. You don't know, and we like to keep it that way.
I'm a part of the show, and I still don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway.
So, Chris saying, Lindros was Superman. Not in the 2010s, but I do know what you're talking about. He was a good playoff player until the 97 Cup final. I'm sorry, I will never let that one go, because that should have been the year.
Anyway, when Lindros screwed the goatee, he went from Superman to Bizarro.
Yeah.
I forgot about the goatee. Yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Never fuck with your beard. Never, especially when you're a hockey player.
I'm trying to think of some of these other teams that.
Well, obviously, you could throw out Ovechkin because we haven't mentioned him, and also.
But no, I'm not going to throw him out there because when it came, aside from 2018, the guy's been pretty non-existent when come playoff time.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, he's been on a milk carton more often than not. So for me, it's not even Ovechkin. Like there was this point in time where Ovechkin had he would Capitals would be eliminated. He'd only have like 3 points in however many games it took for them to get eliminated. Usually it was like 6 or 7.
Right.
But I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the other teams in 2010s that were there consistently. I mean, if you want to throw Anaheim out there, but I don't know if I would. I mean, they were consistently always there, especially towards the early to mid 2010s. Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry and Francois Beauchemin.
Here's a player that always seemed to score clutch goals at the worst possible time, and I say the worst possible time because he didn't play for the Flyers. He played for the Penguins. And he also single-handedly killed an organization and put them in the rebuild that they're still currently in. Chris Kunitz. Every time in the playoffs, he scored a clutch goal and fucked another team so hard. And I'm like, God damn, Kunitz, do you never stop? You just keep scoring goals at the worst possible time. And I hated him when he played for the Penguins because every time Flyers would have a lead, that motherfucker would tie it. I'm like, God damn it, Kunitz. Why? You do more damage to us than fucking Crosby. How the fuck is that even possible? Jesus.
What team did he leave in that's currently still in a rebuild?
Ottawa. He killed that organization. He scored that OT winner. And then that was it. Ottawa's hopes and dreams of going on an underdog run to the Stanley Cup Finals ended right there.
Oh, I mistook what you said. I mistook what you said. I was like, wait a second. If I'm thinking about the teams that he's been on, none of them are currently in a rebuild.
No. I mean, he scored that goal in Game 7 that killed them.
Yeah, but I still feel like Ottawa wasn't that. That was just they got on a hot run.
They did.
You just have to get to the NHL playoffs.
They did. I'm not gonna lie.
At the right time, you're gonna run the table.
Oh, would you put Tuukka Rask in there as a great playoff performer?
Yeah, I could put him in there. I could definitely put him in there. Did he win a cup? No, but he's always been there. He's always had good performances. He's given Boston a few deep playoff runs, and I could even throw Patrice Bergeron in there if we're going to talk Boston. Marchand, I will refuse to bring up because it's Brad Marchand. And fuck him.
Come fungus.
I mean, I'm not.
I'll throw another one in there that's becoming a thing over the past few seasons. Braden Point.
Yeah, especially late. I mean, you could definitely consider it late 2010s and into now. This is a guy who's.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna do. Yeah, that will be for this decade more. Right.
Mm-hmm. But even still, like that, I would qualify that because he was a part of the team then, and he still is. He's just broken out at this point, to the point where he's just a clutch performer in any and all situations.
What about TJ Oshie?
I'm not sold on Oshie. Like, I like Oshie as a player, but I think he gets a little too much recognition for a preliminary shootout goal. Preliminary shootout goal in the Olympics. Like, come on, let's stop it. Let's not glorify the guy for it. What did he do after that? Well, if I remember correctly, that year the U.S. won the bronze.
Well, yeah, the U.S. didn't. Yeah, the U.S. didn't really do anything.
And then what did TJ Oshie do?
Well, he did go on to win the cup in 2018, but
but that would be the one run. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna give it to a guy for one run.
Right. No, I got you.
He contributed well towards that cup, but
absolutely, and that's another part of the reason why I don't really see anybody on the Capitals that really can. I would even bring up.
So Connaughton just got hurt. Didn't even look like much.
I mean, I guess I should probably put the hockey game back on.
Yes, third period has started. Connaughton hurt his knee, it looks like. Didn't even look like he hit it all that hard, but yeah, he's hurt.
Well, before we get into the third period, Matty, one thing I will say is if you want to talk all-time best playoff performers, we just lost one in Mike Bossy, like we talked about earlier in the show. I think he's has my vote for one of the best of all time. I mean, the best of all time.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Amazing player. Unfortunately, it's cancer, I believe.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, cancer took him away, and He's a great guy and a legendary performer. He was part of those 4 cups with the Islanders. And he also apparently his career had gotten shortened due to a back injury. So even he didn't get a chance to play for the full time that he could have. And it now brings up the point, man, imagine if he had a chance to play out his career. It's the same thing, with Lindros and with Lemieux and guys like that. It's like, man, what more could they have achieved had it not been for injuries? I mean, with Lemieux, he achieved a ton. But, with Lindros, it's like, man, could he have done even more had he not suffered those concussions and the injuries that followed that, and everything. Kind of the same thing with Bossy. If he hadn't suffered that back injury, he had already done so much, but maybe he could have done even more. Who knows? Maybe he could have helped the Islanders get to a surprise run once again. But Troy's saying, yo, what a miss. Yeah, I know, right? You missed the Flyers almost scoring on themselves. That literally almost happened like 2 minutes ago.
So this umpire is awful, and it's only the top of the second. He's trying to,
Tank it for right. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, you have to throw that in there. At this point, you have to. Tanking for right. I wish Anaheim was tanking for right, but I'm okay with where they are. I'm happy with Zegras. 20-goal score. You got Troy Terry flirting with 40.
Anthony's saying he would throw in the Kings, by the way, from that 2010 perspective.
Oh, we totally did.
And now we'll go. So right now, the Maple Leafs are on the power play. Not for much longer. There's only 10 seconds left. But they are up 3-1. So it really, unless the Flyers can manage to get a goal here, it wouldn't really matter, even if the Flyers killed it. But all the same, though, one good thing that I could say about this is that the season is almost over. The season's almost done. We're almost at the end, folks. Oh. So let's see here. Brian's like deep in thought on that Phillies game. Like he's trying.
No. Didi Gregorius just took a pitch off the hands, and it looks like he swung.
Oh.
Hit by pitch.
So they're reviewing. Okay, gotcha.
They're not really reviewing it, but they gave him first base. But he clearly broke the plane in the check swing. But I guess they're just. I don't know what they're going to do. I can't really hear it either.
And meanwhile, the Flyers are trying to cause a turnover in the Maple Leaf zone. And Anthony's saying, I'm glad the Sixers play tomorrow because I am sick of the Buffalo Flyers. I can understand that. Too. And there's a penalty coming up on the Maple Leafs. I believe it was hooking. And it's on... Is that Brody? Yeah, it's Brody. So Brody's going to go to the box. Called for...
I still love that signing for Toronto, picking up TJ Brody. That was such an awesome signing a couple of years ago. He's a big reason why I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to make a deep run and why I think that defense is just so much better now than they were last year.
Yeah, that added a lot of toughness to that defense.
And then you bring in another leader at the deadline with Mark Giordano. Stop it.
Yeah, they made good choices. Can't say they didn't. Meanwhile, Farabee got cross-checked by Brody, and so therefore that is why there is now a power play for the Flyers. See if the Flyers manage to pull it off. Should also mention that when the Flyers have been down 0-2 in games after 2 periods, they are at a .013. They have no wins. They've not come back from a 2-goal deficit after 2 periods.
There's something to be proud of.
Yeah, something very, very much to be proud of. And Troy's saying, did y'all hear about the bird flu going around?
It's always something going around.
Yeah, at this point.
Great play there. Never mind.
Great save there by Campbell. dive down and grab the puck there. I will say I do like Campbell as a goaltender. I like what he brings to the table for Toronto. If he does manage to play really good in that first round, because I don't really blame what happened last year on him at all. I'm wondering what will. I wonder how he'll do as the years go along with Toronto. I think he should be fine.
What's up, Pope Platinum Beats? To answer your question, there's a lot wrong with this organization. For me, it all starts from the top. Ownership is, there used to be a culture for this organization, and there used to be a pride factor for this organization, and it meant something to wear the jersey. And now it just seems like there's not that same culture anymore since Ed Snyder died, and they gave up the team to Comcast, the family, and it's coaches who can't get the best out of their players motivate their players, and not really.
They also.
Good. I don't know if that's a good time or a bad time to bring that up, but I love it either way.
Well played.
Scouting, free agency play, poor drafting. There's a lot of reasons, Pope, why this team is god awful. But I really don't feel like this team is as bad as they're performing. I really severely believe that they're underachieving, and I think the right coach in place could really absolutely turn this team around. And I have two names in mind. I don't know if you actually know them. Being, as you said, you were casual. Respect on the honesty. Claude Julien, who was a head coach for the for the Boston Bruins for a while, and that's all right. Really, let's go. And then Paul Maurice, who was a longtime head coach for the Winnipeg Jets, who's they've had both coaches a lot of success, playoff appearances.
Julien has a cup.
I think the right coach in place, the right system, and you figure out what your core is, what you want it to be, and then you build around it. And actually not slump on the building like they've done with Claude Giroux, which led him to be traded this season.
True. And also on top of that too, not trying to rush young players, and I think some of that happened as well. Some players getting brought up when they were not 100% ready.
I don't necessarily think they rushed anybody. I think it was just because, like, TK showed that he can play at this level. Provy showed he can play at this level. You just need to find the right coach for these guys and get them back into a system that fits them. I just think that since firing Hextall, which I know this is going to sound crazy, that you had the best TK. You had the best Coots. You had the best Provy. These young guys would absolutely – the results weren't always there, but these guys were performing under that system. You were getting production. Did you get to make the playoffs every year? No. Did you win every playoff round? No. Did you win a couple? Yeah. But you also got the best out of these guys under a guy like Hextall. But I just think they need more of a disciplinarian or a guy who's very meticulous about the little details and just clean the game up. I think a lot of the lack of success they had this year was just from sloppy play.
Priz saying, caught the show in time. Let's go. What's up, Priz?
Yo, Priz.
Yo, my boy. What's up?
Ted also said, is the Flyers team salvageable? Say we get an impact player in the lottery crossing the fingers. Well, if we got a player that was an immediate impact, like superstar level impact, yes, team is salvageable. Will you get that guy? We'll have to wait and see. You don't really know until they play, and then you find out. All right, they are an immediate impact, or maybe it'll take a couple of seasons. I mean, Lafreniere's doing pretty good for the Rangers now, right? Well, he wasn't immediate. Wasn't immediate,
especially the way he was getting touted, like the next Crosby. You know what I mean? Like, he had some growing pains, so you never know. You're right, Matty.
Yeah, and you can say the same thing about Philip Cheadle, who's having a solid season, and Adam Fox, who originally wasn't a New York Ranger, but there were some issues with him in Carolina and Calgary, which led them to New York. And now look at him; he's a Norris Trophy winner, and he's probably going to win it again. He's going to have to fight Kevin Carr for it, but
well, competition sometimes brings out the best.
I think this team is salvageable because, like I was saying earlier in the show,
and Toronto just scored. But I think
made moves and kept the core young group that you're trying to develop here, and that was probably the goal, and they achieved it. I think it's just I think you just don't have the right coach and play. I don't. I think that's their biggest issue. Aside from ownership. Ownership is obviously problem number one, but I think you get the right coach. I think this team could be a playoff team in a year or two. 3 max.
So that was very weird. So very strange goal that just went in. It pinballed off of 2 players and went into the right behind Jones. So very weird goal scored by the Toronto Maple Leafs there. Makes it 4-1. And it'll be credited to Nylander because it went off his skate before it went into the
net. Thanks, Mo.
Yeah. And she also said, "Hey, fellas, Flyers are still playing. Yikes."
What's up, Mo? I should be watching the game, but I'm not. I turned the Phillies on instead. I'd rather watch a different hot mess. But different hot mess is winning 1-0 right now.
Anthony saying, "I'd rather see 70-year-old strippers dance at a strip club and swinging from a pole. Better watching than the Flyers play hockey. At least the 70-year-old strippers show effort."
No, I'm good. I'd rather no.
Don't you try, little sweet. Don't you try to back out of it now. We all know what your tastes are. You've admitted to them here on the show.
Not 70.
Ted's saying, "You say that, Brian, but it's been 2 years. We have guys on this team when G was here. This team isn't completely different from when he was here."
But again, they never built a team around G. They've
Which
been
unfortunately
do they have any playoff success? No, but have they been successful? Yes. Tell me where I'm wrong there. You didn't when this team was at its peak, you didn't have a goaltender. You had a solid defense, but you didn't have a goaltender. You had Voracek, you had G, you had 1 year you had Yager. And oh my God, it was Claude Giroux's best year. And now you look at what he's doing in Florida. The team has 1 loss with G on the roster. Come on, let's stop that. This team, even to this day, if you want to go back to 2011, was never completely built. They were never completely built. To Matty's, he's always saying is there was Band-Aids all over this roster.
There was.
And there still is Band-Aids all over this roster.
Yep.
And they're starting to trade those Band-Aids away. I think this team on paper obviously is better than what we're seeing as a product on the ice. There's no denying that. I think they're an underachieving team. Do I think they're better than they are? Absolutely. You also have 3 major guys who aren't on the ice right now. You have Sean Couturier and Ryan Ellis as your top 2 guys who haven't seen the ice. I don't think Couturier's seen the ice all season. Ryan Ellis has maybe seen 9 games.
I think Ellis saw like 4. Even less.
But that doesn't change my point.
No, it doesn't. It actually helps it even more.
It does. You have some front office issues you have to work out, and that's clear as day. There's a lot of dysfunction. You have coaching issues you need to work out. You have bench coaching issues you have to work out. You have developmental issues you have to work out. I don't necessarily think that this entire issue is based on the players. I don't. I think there's talent there. There's definitely talent there. I mean, Couturier or Konechny is one of the hottest players on the team right now. 11 points in 13 games, I think I saw that stat. 4 goals, 7 assists. I think he's close to 45 assists at this point in the season. Probably flirting around the 50, 55 point mark. Let's be real. There is talent on this roster. Some of it just needs to still be developed. But that's what this point is for. Do they need a franchise-changing player? Yes. There's no denying that. They need a 40, 50 goal scorer. They need that. Can Owen Tippett be that guy? Maybe. If he's a 30 goal scorer, is that good enough? Yes. You need a guy like a Shane Wright. You need a franchise-changing player. A younger franchise-changing player. Because you had that with Giroux. I know everybody's going to sit there and say, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, Giroux was a franchise-changing player.
He was.
Look at the stats and look at what he did on the ice. Look what he's doing in Florida.
It's almost like if
look at what he's doing in Florida with actual players on his line, and not two third-line players playing with him.
It's almost like if you had put great players around him the entire time, things would have been different. Because they probably would have been. They probably would have been a much more competitive Flyers team that he was captaining.
And then, I was I a huge fan of Hextall? No, but I liked what he did because he's got the young guys to produce. Did I like who was after him? Berube? No. But look at what he's doing at St. Louis. You can't hate on that. There's respect. I have to eat crow for that one. I thought he was going to be a terrible head coach. He won him Stanley Cup. And they've had successful seasons ever since. And then who was next?
It was Berube, then Hextall.
It was Berube and Hextall. Okay, so I flipped them around. But that doesn't change what I just said. And then AV. I mean, AV left a lot to be desired. Was he that same player or same coach? He was in New York or Vancouver? No, he wasn't. He just wasn't. He didn't get the. He had one great year. They went into the bubble, and it was ever since. So he didn't get the best out of his players. Mike Yao is getting nothing from his team. He's getting nothing from this team. This team has talent. You need to put more talent on the team, and you need to build this team properly. You can't rely on flipping lines all the time. You have to put your talent with talent. Set up your two lines to be your best lines. Your third line, you can either make it a checking line or a scoring line, whatever fits the system the best. And then your fourth line, put your energy guys, your hitters there.
Don saying, bro, Claude is the Matthew Stafford of the NHL. And then goes on to say, when you put talent around him, he will succeed.
And that's what a lot of people have been saying. Yeah, I get it, Ant. You're not wrong there.
Anthony's saying the problem is the Flyers lifers like Holmgren and Clark and others thinking that they are GMs still. And even though they got fired and telling the real GMs who to pick and sign, Holmgren, Clark, and other Flyers need to get a job away from the Flyers or work a normal job like McDonald's or pet store.
I mean, Clarky.
He took advantage of the situation he was in. He didn't have a salary cap, so he could do whatever he wanted. And back then, Ed Snyder did not care how much money he was willing to spend. Ed Snyder wanted to win a cup then and now, and he didn't care how much money was spent to do it. So he would go out and get those big-name free agents. Many times he'd make trades right at the beginning of the season to try and shore up the Flyers team that he felt needed to be shored up. The biggest mistake he ever made during his era, one was not coming to terms with Eric Lindros, and he said that openly he wished he had. That was a bad way for them to split. Secondly, not finding a goalie, because the Flyers never had a real, true number one goalie during that period. That was the biggest running gag for the longest time with the Flyers, was that great team up front with great depth, and great on their special teams, but fucking horrible in the net. And that would usually result in an elimination because, one Roman Cechmanek later, one Robert Esch later, we're out of the playoffs. Like, what the fuck? If we had maybe a number one goalie, maybe that wouldn't have been a problem, wouldn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think Anthony was going to that point with it. I think what he's saying is, guys like Hextall and all them, I think he's going based off of that story that Clarkey was saying, go get Cam McCarr.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Cam McCarr, which would have been, obviously, hindsight being 2020, Yeah, you're taking Cale Makar over Nolan Patrick every day and twice on Sundays. I think that's where he was going with that. But and I agree with him. Like you have to let the GM do his part, but the GM also has to sit there and be like, well, maybe ask a few questions. Why should I take Cale Makar over Nolan Patrick? Tell me why. This, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. This, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And then work together on making that the right pick. And I think that some of the things that we're seeing now from some of the picks that Ron Hextall made is showing that maybe he didn't pick the right guys. Am I saying they're talented? Yeah, I'm still saying they're talented. Do I think they could be NHL players? Yes. I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing these guys can, for the most part, survive. Are some of them divas like Provy? Yeah. Yeah, they're absolutely divas. But when you're drafting, you have to draft as a team. You can't just draft to be like and say, hey, listen, I'm the GM. I'm going to do I'm going to take who I fucking want. Fuck you. Just get the hell out of my draft room. Let me do my job. You're all there for a reason. You got to work together as a team and make sure you put the right pieces in place.
No, you're right. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Listen, you can argue and you can, have debates before the draft. But when that draft day comes, you need to be on the same goddamn page here. You need to be ready. Like, okay, this is what I think we should do. This is the direction I think we're going to go in. And this is what we'll need to go in that right direction. You need to have that. And everyone's got to be on that side of it. Okay. All right. Maybe we could try this as well. And all right, well, let's see what you can do. You can have debates like that, but at the same time, you're still behind the GM and what they're trying to do. You're still. Yep.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah. It's you guys tie into what I said at the beginning of the show. It's not about picking the best talent. It's about picking the right talent for any position.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they've come to a fault. That's where they've come to a fault. I'll make you all feel a little better in Philadelphia land now with some breaking news. Former Philly Darren Ruff just broke up Max Scherzer's no-hit bid with an RBI single in, the top of the 6th inning. So there's that.
I'll take it. It's a little win. The moral victory. It's a moral victory. I'll take it.
And Ted's saying it's not like the NFL free agency. You have to get lucky in trades or win the lottery. Building around G is not easy in that sense. Well, it's never easy to build a team. It's not easy to build a team in the sense of if one thing goes wrong, then you need to fix that. But if you're smart enough, you know what you need. If you understand what system you're trying to go for, and if you've got that in your head, and you also know your coach and you know what he needs to succeed, then you can make it happen. Because it is true to be said, the best team doesn't always win the cup. There's a lot of times where that never happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And if you know your system, you know your coach, you know what the players you need, you can succeed in that. How many times have we seen that where they knew what they were doing? They understood exactly what they had there. That's the other issue that I think we've brought up plenty of times. That there are plenty of times where they were directionless. And they were like, let's just throw money at it and it'll solve itself. No, have a direction. If you have a direction, you can succeed. Don't just sit there and throw money at it because that ain't going to solve anything. That's going to get you into cap hell. That's the last thing you want.
But in order to build around a guy like Drew, you just need a talented player. If you can get a good all-around player, he'll fit any system. There's players out there that will fit any system and still succeed.
No, that's true. That there are those players.
But to Ted's point, drafting, they're prospects for a reason. They could be hit or miss. They absolutely can. But if you're in free agency, right, or you're looking at a trade, you can pull off any trade if you're willing to part with certain things. And it depends on where you are as far as your rebuild. Are you selling? Are you buying? Look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay pulled off a great trade earlier. By the trade, but I think it was just before the trade deadline, getting Brendan Hagel. I thought that was a great trade for Tampa Bay. Because you got a young 23-year-old restricted free agent who's having a career year to add to guys like Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos, Victor Hedman, who is a defenseman, I know, but still one of the best players in the league, to a deep team. You have to be willing to part with certain things. If you don't want to give up a first rounder, fine, don't give up a first rounder, but don't expect to be able to get a talented player for a third round and fourth round pick. It's just not going to happen. It just does not work like that. You want something of value, you have to give up something of value. This is a league now. This is all sports. This isn't just hockey. This is baseball. This is football. These top tier players want top tier money, top tier contracts. So you have to give something up. You want to go out and get a guy in NHL free agency, you're going to have to cough up some money. Do you think that the Rangers wanted to give Panarin that much money? Probably not, but that's what Panarin wanted, and they wanted Panarin. And now look at them. Look at that roster. That roster is loaded because they are willing to not give up anything to not win a cup. They'll give up anything to build a roster. Look, that roster is loaded from top to bottom. The Carolina Hurricanes loaded from top to bottom. Colorado Avalanche loaded top to bottom. The scouting and development has failed this Flyers team. The front office has failed this Flyers team. This roster has done nothing to fail this organization. They've done that themselves. They've done it from top to bottom. The last play, has the play been great? No. But how much of that do you really blame on the players? There's not much depth on this team past the first line.
So, just a quick update. Ronnie Attard did score 4-2. So, nice to see one of the younger players get himself another goal. Nice to see.
Yeah, he had a good presence to know how to pinch there. Came in, fired a nice shot. Kid's got a nice shot. 2 goals already.
I'm about him. Like that I think he might need a little bit of seasoning at the beginning of the year next year, but I think he's almost ready to be a third pairing defenseman in the NHL. He's getting close. I've been very impressed with his play.
Yeah. Damien. What's up, Damien?
Damien, that's our brother from down under.
He says, it's like all sports now. It's like a business now. You need people in front office who knows what to do. Then it goes down in a line to the players.
Mm-hmm. Kind of similar to what Ryan wrote earlier in the show. Yeah. Great minds think alike.
Anthony's saying, I'm thinking Hextall has seen talent in Nolan Patrick and how good he was, but none seen the talent in Nolan Patrick, and Hextall seen it gives these young players 5 years to play together, and they will be ready to get that experience. Also, too, Clark complained and bitched to the higher-ups to fire Hextall, and the higher-ups don't know shit about hockey, went with Clark's advice. Well, that was the organizational that was the organization and the disorganization within it. That was everything about it, and that was a boys' club mentality, too, that Hexy really wasn't in on, so that didn't help anything either, because Holmgren and Clark were like this. So that didn't help anything. But all the same, whether Nolan Patrick was a bust or not, he was. The point is that you have that kind of disorganization going on. How the fuck do you expect to build a team when you can't even get on the same page? It's like, you're not going to. It's like, what's the point? You might as well just forfeit the fucking year. Empty netter for the Maple Leafs. Speaking of forfeiting. And pretty much that's what happened. The Flyers continue to have these problems within the organization. They came to a head. Hextall got fired. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Chuck Fletcher comes in and says, okay, well, let's throw some money at it. And that's exactly what he did. He threw a lot of money at it. And unfortunately, we didn't even really get a chance to see this year what throwing money looked like because, the trades that we made for Ellis and Atkinson. I mean, Atkinson was fine, but we didn't really get a chance to see anything from Ellis. So that didn't help anything. But overall, at the end of the day, that kind of disorganization is pretty much what we're talking about, where there's problems at the top. It's worked its way down here to the ice. And when you have a team that's not on the same page and at times directionless, this is what results. So it's a very bad cautionary tale for other NHL organizations not to follow down that path.
But also, if you want to go down that route, Matty, who's to sit here and say that Hextall's been a success as a drafting GM?
Oh, I didn't say that.
No, I'm not saying that you did. I'm throwing that question out there to you.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because if you look at some of the guys that he's drafted, I haven't exactly been successful in the last couple of years. They haven't exactly been productive in the last couple of years. Nobody's really taken that step forward to really like bust out and say, "Yo, I'm here, I'm ready." Yeah. TK's getting to the point where he needs to not be riding the highs and lows of an NHL season. He needs to figure out what type of player he is and take it and run. Look at Troy Terry. He's about the same age. I believe they came out of the same draft together, or they were like a year apart.
Punch his teeth in.
Terrace has completely exploded this year. I'm still waiting for that from TK. Farabee is close. And I know Farabee is a Hextall guy.
McEwen. Knew it.
But if you look at McEwen's dropping the gloves.
Yeah.
You look at. I mean, I hope they re-sign him. I love Zach McEwen.
Yeah, he's dropping the gloves with Ovechkin.
Just look at his draft. How many of these guys have been like an extreme success? Just something to think about. You know what I mean? Like, I'm throwing that question out to both of you guys. Like, if you look at a lot of the guys that Hextall has drafted versus the guys that Fletcher has drafted.
Well, for one thing, Cam York we have seen, but what was it last year? We haven't seen any of the players from last year. We didn't see Talamala. We haven't seen Forster. Haven't really had a chance.
We're not going to probably see them for another year or two.
Yeah. So, but comparing to what Holmgren drafted, we could definitely look at that beforehand. But Ted said Hextall only landed on 2 players in the top 15, blew the second overall pick. He did blow the second overall pick. There's no getting around that.
I mean, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one because you draft a guy you don't expect to ever have that happen. And then to have his issues that he had off the ice, it changed the player that he was.
Yeah.
Robbie was saying, that power forward type that needs to be in front of the net and can overpower some guy. That could have been Nolan Patrick because he scored a lot of goals that way. He just never stayed healthy, and the health issues that he had last year changed him as a player, and he's just not the same guy.
Lost the passion.
Yeah, and he didn't really. I don't think he even liked playing in Philly. He hated it. You can just kind of even tell in his face, like I don't want to be here.
But even still, I think he's played 5 games in Vegas.
Yeah. He hasn't even really had a chance to find anything in Vegas, honestly. That is true. Hextall did draft Hart. He drafted him in the 3rd round. It was pretty high for a goaltender when they drafted him. Yeah.
He's 2nd or 3rd round. One of the two.
Which is high. You usually don't pick goalies at that. You usually pick goalies in the 6th and 7th round. But, he did draft Hart. And, he, like you said, he drafted Farabee. And comparing to what Holmgren did, Holmgren drafted Scott Lawton. Lawton was actually the only prospect we had for a long time. And then besides him, he did draft Sean Couturier. But other than that, though, Flyers drafted a lot of players and never really saw any time in the NHL during that period. So,
Trevor.
Yo, what's up, my man?
Yo, what's going on, dude? And Ted saying, besides us trading for Chemo, Scotty Hartnell was that once-in-a-lifetime trade. It feels like we're out of all the big trades now. Well, the thing is, too, is that big trades were something that a lot of the GMs did back then because they felt like the Flyers were only 1 or 2 players off from making that cup trip. So that's why they went for it, and that's why Holmgren did it. Holmgren did it because he thought, well, this team's only 1 or 2 players away. All I really have to do is go get those players, and that's exactly what he did. That's why he went and got Kimo Timonen and then Scott Hartnell, because he felt Hartnell brought depth, and he also thought brought toughness to the team. Timonen brought great defensive play and also offense as well. So that's why he went and grabbed those players from Nashville, because he knew that they could be big contributors. He brought Braden Coburn from Atlanta because he thought Coburn would be a good defensive depth player. So that was the reason why he did that. He thought Flyers were 1 or 2 players away.
I mean, yeah, you're going to see a lot more teams go after the big players when they're ready to compete for a cup, and the Flyers will get back to that point eventually. Yeah.
And Dylan saying Flames down 2-1 heading into the second period. And the Flyers are third, getting feisty. And, the Flyers have officially lost the game 5-2. I mean, I wasn't really in any doubt that that was going to end that way. But all the same, though, like you said, Rob, just adds more to our draft positioning, so I can't complain too much about that. And
I hate losing, but tank for right.
Yeah. And you know what, gents? Guess what? We don't have any more games to react to from the Flyers. It's over. The pain and the misery is over of having to watch the Flyers shit the bed every Tuesday. It has ended.
Now we'll enter Brian's world. You know, I'm sure there'll be some playoff matchups on Tuesday nights to get into. You know, maybe catch a third or something like that.
We'll have to be on the same page on the games, though. We can't do what we've done in the past and just watch 3 different games and react to them all.
I think that was great, though. Getting somebody, you know what I mean? I mean, I guess it's great to get different takes on the same play, but coverage, baby.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, but it's easier to come to conference finals in the Stanley Cup because we don't have to figure out which. Whoa, which one are you watching? Which one are you watching?
He scored. Who?
Wait, which one are you watching? I don't remember.
I'm watching that game up in Canada. It's like there's many games up in Canada. What are you talking about?
All right, Bomey, let's go.
All right. He is saying that he's watching the Panthers right now, actually. The Panthers Islanders. He says, I'm not watching the Flyers till they fire Fletcher.
Which I don't think Fletcher – I get it. I get why people are upset with Fletcher. I really do. But as much as I think he's a problem, I think he's one of the smaller issues on this roster right now. I really can't blame him for this year. Like, injuries have plagued the team early on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate, but unfortunately it comes with the territory. It sucks that Ellis played 4 games. It sucks that Couturier, I don't think, played a single game this year.
No, he did. He played like 14 still. No.
But even still, that's such a small sample size for the year. But it is what it is. So I'm willing to give Fletcher 1 more year to rebound, and then you go from there. For me, Trev, you got to get him a coach. You got to get him a legit coach, a guy who's had success at the NHL level. I thought that was AV. Boy, was I wrong. I thought AV was going to get him close to a cup. You did the exact opposite. For me, and then Trev, I absolutely want your opinion on this, bro, because we don't hear from you as much as we used to. It's I'm down to 2 guys that I want for the Flyers next year. Because if Mike Yao gets the job, I'm jumping on your bandwagon and saying fire Fletcher right now. You got to go out. You got to get a coach like a Claude Julien. Or you get a Paul Maurice. Those are my 2 guys. That's numbers 1 and 2 on my list. Maurice and Julien. I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. Get those guys, and you're going to see a different team. That Boston team was a mess before they got Claude Julien. And same thing with Montreal. And he didn't have the same success because that Montreal team was hurting for a while. But he's had success at the NHL level. He did a great job with the Winnipeg. Paul Maurice did a great job with Winnipeg. You know, that's the kind of coach that I want. The coach that has longevity in his career. That's not jumping from place to place to place, like they've done the
Right.
last couple of years.
That's interesting though, Brian. Like your pronunciation of Rick Taka is very weird.
Huh? Oh,
Very strange, yes.
I
Now,
Gotcha.
thought I'm like, wait, I didn't say Rick Taka's name at all. I'm like,
I see what you did. Trevor saying, though, no one wants to come here with Fletcher in charge. That's what I've heard. And if that is the problem, then it is upon the ownership to fire him then. If he is a
But
problem.
that's fine though. You don't necessarily need guys to come in. You need young guys to develop.
Yeah,
I'm a big.
I hate that kind of talk though. Who has said this? Where did, like these rumors that go fly about or whatever, right? Yeah, there was also put out there that Max Scherzer never wanted to pitch in New York or pitch for the Mets. And look, never say never in the sports world. That's one thing I've learned.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I hear things all the time too, but that doesn't like. I heard Tony DeAngelo could never be, after what happened in New York, would never get another job in the NHL.
Right.
He'd never get back to the level that he's at. Look at where he is now.
Yeah.
He's the top pairing defenseman, and they love him down here. They love Tony DeAngelo.
Yes, sir.
In the locker room, the fan base loves him. He's back. He's back to playing that high level of defense that he was in New York before all the drama. Never say never. I mean, I think once you get these young guys developed and you see where the Flyers are, even if Chuck Fletcher's still the GM, I think you're going to lure some guys because they're going to want to play with him. Right. Maybe not necessarily for him, but they'll want to play with some of these younger guys. Guys like a Farabee, guys like the Shoots, a guy like let's say Tyson Forrester pans out, a guy like Cam York.
Here's a rumor I heard Blashill is a douchebag.
No, that one's true.
No.
And he has go on to say that they love Claude Giroux down here in South Florida. I hope they do. I'm happy that he's got a chance at a cup. I'm happy for him on that. Ted saying, you guys been following the league way more than me. I just follow the Flyers. How long has Florida been building to this point? A very long time since pretty much 1996 when they shockingly went to the finals.
I'm not going to go ahead and say that long, but it's been
a while though. I mean, they were okay in the early 2000s. They would get into the first round, but they were very mediocre and they would get eliminated. That continued for a little while, even into the 2010s. Finally, they just went back to plummeting to the bottom of the standings, had really bad attendance issues, and they literally got to the point where they were giving out free lottery tickets so that people would come to their games. But, it took a minute, but they started drafting high, getting a lot of those great players, invested in those players. They stopped bringing in guys who were trading away young talent to try and compete now, to try and make a playoff spot. Sounds kind of familiar. And look at them now. They've built up. It took a minute. It didn't happen overnight. It took them, about a good 5, 6, 7 years about that before they were ready to get to that point that they're at now. Also a rebrand, too. They changed the jerseys during that time as well. And so now they're here having the best season that they've ever had in franchise history. Huberdeau having the first ever 100-point season for the Florida Panthers. So already he's the greatest Florida Panther that's ever played the game.
But also, to go with that, Matty, he got a lot of that and hit it right to him. To sit here, I like to build off of what you're saying because you're right. But for a long time, they didn't draft well. Mm-hmm. They couldn't. No free agent wanted to go there. They had no attendance. They didn't really have any money to spend. Mm-hmm. And then with the rebranding, they really started to start putting things together. They started drafting well. They got. I think Ekblad was like the biggest piece to really start to build to where they are. You get Alexander Barkov. You have Jonathan Huberdeau. Mm-hmm. You add those three to the mix. That's your core. You go out and then you figure out what your core is, and then you continue to add pieces through the draft. But you have to add through free agency and trades as well. So now you have young guys that you bring in with the draft. You got trade pieces now. You have draft picks you can trade now. Wheels are rolling. Things are going. It took them a good 5 years to get to this point. Any year before that was, I discount towards this rebuild because they were just that awful. They had no money. They had no draft picks. They were a terrible team. Now you're bringing in Sam Bennett. Now you're bringing in Carter Hart. You're bringing in Claude Giroux. You're bringing in, I hate to say it, but Radko Gudas, because he's been a big part of that. You bring in Sergei Bobrovsky. You bring in these guys now because you have that core group and you're adding pieces now. And now you have, despite, let's say that they don't like the GM, you're Sam Reinhart. Thanks, Trev. That's another good one.
Yep, Sam Reinhart.
You have pieces to move to bring in. And that's you have your core group.
Yeah.
And you're building around that core group. And that's what Florida's doing. And that's a recipe for a successful franchise.
Wait, did they change owners too during that time?
They may have. I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I thought they had, but I could be wrong on that. By the way, he also says, fun fact, the locals hate the rebrand. Good. I'm not the only one who hated that rebrand, too. I'm going to be honest. I really did not like those jerseys nor that logo when I first saw them. That looks like shit.
You hate the rebrand, but they're having success under it, though. So how bad can it be? How much can you hate that? You're the favorite to win the Stanley Cup right now.
Which is not always the greatest.
Anaheim. Nobody liked the rebrand in Anaheim, but they won a cup under the rebrand.
I will say
how bad can it be?
I will say this. As funny as it is, I remember seeing those jerseys the first time in 2007. I thought those are some ugly fucking jerseys. Just Anaheim Ducks spelled across. Yeah, it's a creative font. When they changed it to just the D on there and then had those jerseys, I thought those are nice jerseys. Why didn't they have those when they first rebranded?
Sometimes it just takes a minute to figure it out, but let me look that up to check out on the ownership there, Matty, because that's a good question, because that may have been a big reason why they went from so quick. It's the same thing with the Ducks, man. When Disney sold the team and the Somalis took over, they rebranded the team and the team took off.
They did.
Ever since 2003 or 2004. I think 2005 was the first year under the new ownership. So even in 2003, they were a pretty successful team. Got to Stanley Cup Finals, but they lost. They got there as an 8 seed.
So Trevor saying Vinny Viola is the current owner.
Yeah. Okay. Let me look up Vinny Viola.
He also says that everyone has the reverse retro jersey.
That reverse retro jersey was fucking hot.
It was.
Yeah, it's a lot better. I think the new Panthers jersey looks like a soccer club's jersey.
Yeah. He also, Don told you, Pope, to take that damn brown paper bag off your head.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was just getting a jump start on the holiday, guys. Sorry.
I mean, it's going to be here before you know it.
Mm-hmm. Get your online shopping in.
That's right.
All right, gentlemen. So the third period was over. Flyers take that loss, no surprise. Brought to you by FanUp. In case anybody out there wanted to become an A2D member and use the Willie Vegas and Money Pop podcast, BetUS is not the only place you can use it. You can also use it in FanUp. It is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. They still have daily NBA contests, even with the playoffs going on. So you know what? You might want to check those out because, like I said before, there's a lot of money to be made during this time of the year with the NBA playoffs, and I'm sure there'll be money to be made for the NHL playoffs as well. So you win great prizes if you sign up today and you use the promo code of A2D for 5,000 bonus points, a $50 value. And all you got to do is go to fanup.app, and once you get it, there you go. You start making yourself some cash, get a little side hustle going. Next thing you know, you'll be paid to be an A2D member. You won't be paying $9.99 a month. You'll actually just be buying shit with the money that you get from there. So there you go.
Since 2013. So really, this team really started to turn around in 2013. That's when Vinny Viola took over.
Okay, so they did change owners.
Notice that change.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep, makes sense. They say, don't be jinxing the Flyers, because if the Flyers rebrand and start building around a good core of players, the fans, media, social media, and everyone else in Philly will have a heart attack and riot. Yeah. If the Flyers rebranded tomorrow, even if the logo was cool and the jerseys were actually kind of fun, everyone will still shit bricks and be ready to jump off the Ben Franklin. Especially if you change the logo.
Trev, what do you mean? Why don't we invite you to the stream? Just turn the notifications on, bro.
What do you mean?
Or
You're
do you
always
mean
invited.
why haven't we had you on the show? You become an A2D member, bro, and then you can come on the show with us.
Yeah,
Either
absolutely.
way, I got you covered.
Yeah, you'd become an A2D member. We'll be happy to have you on. We had Priz on a couple of times. Still waiting for Don to make his appearance. He still hasn't. We're still pretty pissed off about it.
I'm over him.
You're over it now? Is it because you're afraid of what he'll do if he comes on?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Let's say, what would y'all change about the Flyers if they do have a rebrand? Well, first off, I would change the fucking ownership. That's the first thing to go.
Well, I'm assuming in the question that you are the owner.
Oh, well, if I was doing a rebrand, I'm not changing the logo. I would never change the logo. That'd be too. The logo's been around for so long; it'd be stupid to change it at this point. I would say I would get new jerseys. I'd be totally down with new jerseys. I would go through some ideas on them. There are some cool designs out there for some jerseys for the Flyers. I would absolutely look at them and say, yeah, you know what? Let's give ourselves a new look. Why? Because better days are on the horizon. Let's make these jerseys synonymous with winning instead of losing, which unfortunately the jerseys currently now being used, they've become synonymous with it, sadly, and it's a shame because they're not bad, just unfortunately bad timing. Anyway, I would change the jerseys. And yeah, that's pretty much it because I still love Gritty. So I can't get rid of Gritty. Gritty has to stay.
First thing I'm doing is getting rid of Gritty.
No, you cannot get rid of Gritty. There are 3 things I want to do when I go to a Flyers game. 1, I want to see the Flyers win. 2, I want to see a great game. And 3, I want to see Gritty scare small children. That's what I want to see, goddammit. That's what I pay to see at a Flyers game.
Yeah, but you're talking about getting rid of things that are synonymous with losing. Gritty, unfortunately, has tainted this team as a losing team. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, well.
You know what? You know what we need? We need Chris Therien to fall into like a lot of money, like do really well, like in like the stock market, and him make a push with an ownership group to buy the Flyers.
Yes.
I'd be down with that. Chris Therien, hell yeah.
He tells me how to run the Flyers every day on Facebook.
He tells me on Twitter. And I don't even use Twitter.
Trevor saying, I would go back to the late 90s, early 2000s CCM Coho Flyers jerseys. A lot of people still love those jerseys. I understand why. Those were some nice jerseys. Yeah.
Well, not just the black, even the orange ones. They were just nice with the black piping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of a Flyers jersey. Like
new goal scoring, yes.
Yeah, synonymous with winning, right? Right, Maddie?
Yes, very much synonymous with winning.
1,000%, Ted.
A new goal song, yeah.
I'm just, I don't know. I've never. What would you say that genre is more? I mean, it's not.
What, the one that they currently have?
Yeah. Not the goal scoring song. You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of the post game, the orange and the black. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for that. I'm getting rid of that as well.
To be fair, I don't think they played it when they won the game I went to.
I'm going back to that one song that they did in like the late 90s, early 2000s for the goal song. I'm going back to that. Something that like the fans can get behind.
I think
that was it, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
Just got
Dude,
the
dude,
fans to be able to
dude.
get behind it, kind of like they do in Chicago and Anaheim
Yeah.
now. So every time they score, the crowd singing the song with them. Like Anaheim with Pennywise, like the fans as soon as they score, they start singing it. You have the chants in Nashville. You have the New York Rangers fans, the New York Islanders fans, all something with the goal song. That's what I'm doing to rebrand. I'm bringing back the black jerseys from the 90s, and I'm bringing back the initial road jerseys from the 90s. Or I'm going to do the jerseys after they came back from the lockout when Reebok took over initially with the black and the other ones in 2010. The ones
Oh,
they were
you
wearing
mean
when they went to
the
Stanley Cup.
ones that had the cutoff stripe?
Yeah,
Where they had, yeah, okay, I know
Mhm.
what ones you're talking about. Yeah.
kind of like I call them the diamond sleeves because they kind of came down on like a diamond up off the shoulder.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Those were interesting jerseys. I remember
Yeah.
getting one of them. And I was like, this is an interesting looking jersey, like compared to the one they just had.
And that's another thing I'm not doing to Ant's point here. What's up, Ant? I don't know if I could bring back Kate,
Well,
but like I said, I'm getting rid of Gritty, and I'm changing the goal song.
we
Back to
can't
something
change.
the fans can get behind.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think you can bring back K to be a PR nightmare.
But here's the thing, though:
yeah,
how cursed are they? They haven't won since that statue's been put up.
that's true. I mean, the only time that they won was when she was physically there. So that's a whole different ballgame. Like Ted's saying, you're wrong. The Flyers weren't a dynasty. Then Gritty pops up and the team goes down the toilet.
I mean, he's a cute little plush toy, but this team has gone to crap with him.
Fuck you, Gritty.
Yeah, but not that Gritty. That Gritty's okay.
No, I love the Gritty. No, I'm just saying, but if you're holding him responsible, you're going in the toilet. At that point, I don't know.
Well, I'm holding him partly responsible.
I would change the colors
Just a-
like
just a
pink
little
and
point.
black, strippers as cheerleaders. I like Gritty. Pink and black, I was like, I don't know.
Second time Anthony's brought up strippers tonight.
I will say I'm not so sure about the pink and the black. I don't want to be stealing Bret Hart's shtick. Next thing you know, he'll be suing the team for copyright infringement. Like, yeah,
yeah, right. I kind of dig the notion though. I've had many of the times of going to a Flyers game and then going to cheerleaders right after. So why not combine the two?
Makes sense.
Not that
That I
far.
can get behind.
It's not far from the stadiums.
Not at all.
Just look it up. Those 2002, 2007 jerseys were the worst.
Yeah, great. Oh, with the silver, yeah.
Wait, which ones
Yeah.
were
I think wasn't that the 3D logo ones?
they? I love that jersey. I still have that jersey.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't half mind it. It was all right.
I just
associate it with the losing though. Because this is like you asked me last show, Maddie, about what was it this bad in 2006, and yeah, I think we've reached that mark, maybe even exceeded it.
Yeah, it's a rough period to say the least.
I got to go back to this. I'm sorry.
Hey, that's the jersey I'm talking about.
Oh, I know. That is definitely the jersey.
I love that jersey. I had a Jeff Carter jersey like that. It got too small for me, so I had to throw it away.
The Richie jersey is
throw it
good
away,
like
I
that
mean-
too.
I love that uniform.
Now, let me see here. Second. All right. So. With
Now, you
that,
know what? Real
to
quick,
say.
before we change the subject here,
Yes.
I'm sold. We're gonna go back to that.
See, that was I think that was their best look. They had that all throughout the 80s with the exception of the black jersey. And then they brought the black jersey in the late 90s. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Those were the Nike jerseys. I'm all about those.
All
Done.
right.
As owner, done. Now let's wrap it up.
Let's head to our shootout segment which is brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. He's got a great crew there over in Cherry Hill in Burlington. If you got any problems with your body going on, like if you got any aches that just won't go away, a stinger or two, these are the guys to go to. And Bry, he went to them for his shoulder, and it's been great ever since.
Yep. Go check out the store. The stores. It's not a store. Go check them out over in Cherry Hill, Burlington County. Seriously, go check them out. They do a great job. They know exactly what they're doing. They'll put you on a regimen, and you'll feel stronger after.
So good. It's like they're selling you a new body. That's what I need, a new body.
That's kind of how my shoulder feels. I feel like they gave me a new shoulder.
In the ball game I'm watching, we have Marte versus Marte. Without Kettle involved.
Oh, yes.
I will say I do agree with Ant here. Get rid of the loud in-game arena hosts and music at every stoppage and bring back the simple pipe organ to play music. Well, okay, the music I keep, but people respond better to the organ simple. I do like adding a little bit more of the organ in there. I would keep the music, though. I would get rid of the loud hosts because no one gives two flying fucks about them, honestly. It's like, who the fuck are you? Go the fuck away.
For sure.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now go into our shootout segment. To finish this up, I'm just going to leave that here while we get ready for our shootout segment. And usually we go through our game of the week and our player of the week as well as our hot take of the week. So, why don't we start off with our game of the week? Who wants to start this off?
Well, I sort of alluded to it before, but yeah, next Tuesday, April 26th, Golden Knights travel to Dallas to take on the Stars. Right now, Vegas trails Dallas by 4 points for that second wild card. Depending on how things shape out between now and then, the game could be for all the marbles. And each team will have 2 games following this head-to-head matchup, but stark differences. The Golden Knights have they're at the Blackhawks and at the Blues, whereas Dallas hosts the Coyotes and hosts Brian's Anaheim Ducks. I think the winner of that game is pretty much going to the playoffs. I mean, unless one of them, really separates themselves over the course of this week.
Possibly, but that race is heating up, and it may very well just come down to the wire. Honestly, it's gonna, it's getting real close. I'm very interested to see what will happen as they move forward. I mean, it is exciting. That's why you love this time. You love this period of time during the year because.
And either way, the game's going to be entertaining because even if the other one already knocked the other one out, then it's about sending a message for next year.
No, you're right. Yeah, you are definitely right. I mean, think about too what's on the line. Dallas last year, they pissed away a playoff spot that they had locked up to Nashville. Now seems like they've got a spot. But if they decide to go streaking, and they are some of the best streakers in the NHL, Vegas could swoop right on in at the last minute and take that spot. And then there you go. You've done it 2 years in a row. And if you do it 2 years in a row, oh boy, heads will fucking roll in Dallas. It's like, oh my God, that's 2 times now we've done
it. Right.
All right. Bri, what you got for game of the week? All right, looks like
he indisposed maybe at the moment.
He stepped away. Okay.
Hey, 3-hour show. You got to pee sometime.
No, you're right. You're right. I understand. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes, right?
Drain the main vein.
Yeah. As they say. For me, game of the week wise, I don't even really think I have one. I tried to think of one, and I couldn't think of one, honestly. I was going
There's
through
not a
them.
lot of great matchups down the stretch. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a potential prelude to the playoffs where Toronto will is it the Lightning, I believe. I think that was one game I saw.
Yeah, that's coming. That's coming up. Yeah, and then this past week I wasn't so. I looked at it like.
There's not a lot of great matchups. You're right.
Yeah, I was having a real hard time trying to find anything, but I guess, like Rob said, you know what? It's not a bad suggestion. Be ready for the Toronto and the Lightning game. That may very well be that'll be a playoff preview, and well, no matter who wins that series, it should be an interesting one.
Oh yeah.
By the way, Brian, have you read the comment from Dundon?
Yeah, Don can fuck himself.
What'd you have
what was the end of that?
He said, since Bry's shoulder is hurt, he really got to stop going to them porn sites.
As in you don't.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
As they say, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it, right?
Hey, listen, I'd rather do it myself and then get something from some of these nasty girls that. Never mind. Never mind. That's going to go to a very dark place very quickly.
We're talking. Are we talking about? We're talking about spread legs again, but
a lot more than that.
Yeah. What you got for game of the week, dude?
For me, I got more. Like I got a game, but I've also got like a couple teams to watch here. So my game of the week is actually going to be tomorrow night, and it's actually going to be televised on NHL Network. So this is probably going to be like a U.S. only game. Sorry, Canada fans. I don't make up the schedule, but Dallas and Edmonton is going to be one of the games that I want to watch. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on playoff implications. Big time on this game. Dallas currently, I believe, is on the outside looking in from the wild card. And then Edmonton obviously fighting for a division spot, 4 points ahead of the LA Kings, with who currently sit at 90 points, Edmonton at 94. So I'm going to also be keeping an eye on any game that LA plays. So tonight's game against the Ducks on ESPN right now is a game that I would keep an eye on. LA could be the first team of the Pacific rebuild to find the playoffs. And then, I'm also watching anything Vegas is doing right now too, because Vegas is another team right now that is potentially on the outside looking in. But I kind of wish I could get to wildcard standings. There they are. So as of right now, so I'm specifically looking Western Conference. Wildcard spots belong to right now Nashville and Dallas. So Vegas is on the outside looking in. So I'm watching anything Vegas, watching anything Dallas, and I'm watching anything really Pacific Division. So keep an eye on all that stuff there because there's going to be a lot of teams in that division. Yeah. What happened?
My Mets swept the Giants in a doubleheader today.
No.
Hey now. We're Rockstar. Get your game on. Go play.
Meanwhile, it's 3-2 for the Rockies in their game with the Phillies.
Yeah, that's top of the fifth. Bryce Harper's up, who's 1 for 2.
That's a freaking statement, though. Giants coming in this game 7-2. 100 game or 100 win team. I can speak. Too high. Jesus, too high.
No, absolutely. Like, everybody wants to blame Kapler. Kapler's showing he can manage a good baseball team.
Oh, he's done tremendous for the Giants too. I saw his gamesmanship today. I mean, he's sharp, man. He is.
He really is.
He called out Buck he really did a late substitution as a part of a double switch because he realized the last minute if he threw Nimmo in, Nimmo could be the ghost runner for the 10th inning. And to, Gabe's point, really by him going on late, like I think it was right before the inning was about to start. That's 2 separate transactions. He shouldn't have been in that particular spot in the batting order. It wasn't now a part of that double switch.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabe immediately called the umpires to it. Like that's something that might go over a lot of managers' heads. So I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wanted to give him crap.
Buck's a fucking shyster.
Yeah, he is. You see him go after
he knows how to work the
Spacek?
system.
I mean, kind of I understand why he went after him, but did you see him running his mouth in the opening series against the Nationals after Cechek hit Lindor?
Oh yeah,
He's a firecracker, that one. I
is?
like Buck Showalter. He's a Hall of Fame manager in my book.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm watching anything Pacific Division, and I'm
Right.
keeping my a close eye on the Dallas Cowboys. I will not be watching them. I will be watching the Dallas Stars.
They understand. They both have stars in their logo.
No, there are some interesting matchups, and like I said, the Ducks will come into play too. There facing the Stars. I believe the last game of the season.
Yeah. There's only a couple games left for Getzlaf in his career.
Right.
His last game is going to be against St. Louis on the 24th.
Oh, they do have one more after that. That's Dallas's last game now. Okay.
So they play
Gotcha.
San Jose on the 26th. And Dallas on the 29th, which I believe is everybody's last game. Except for
okay.
the final game of the year is actually going to be May 1st. It's Seattle and Winnipeg. That's the last game. That's a 2:00 game.
Oh, that's fitting. With the expansion team ending the regular season, I believe they were part of. I think that wasn't that the feature game or one of the featured games on opening night was the Kraken.
That was the Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken Vegas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they opened the season and closed the season with the NHL's new team. Kudos to those schedule makers.
I actually think that was I don't think that was there on purpose. I think that is a rescheduled game from.
Oh, it's a COVID game.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so Anaheim.
Meant to be.
Ryan Getzlaf's last game is going to be April 24th, which is a Sunday. It's gonna be a tough game to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. A lot of emotions there.
Yeah,
a fine career. A very fine career.
Ryan Getzlaf. Oh, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, we should do a tribute to him. We should look into his career. I'd love to do a segment like that. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll do that next week.
Yeah, we can do that next week while we're doing our preview of the playoffs.
I wish I still had his jersey, though. I had a fake bullshit China jersey, and it was just god awful. I had to get rid of it. I didn't like looking at it anymore because I had all the ones that looked right, and then that one sticking out like a sore thumb. I'm like,
this ain't right.
You can't have this.
Oh, Don saying, great show, fellas, as always. Thanks, Don.
We appreciate you, Don. We appreciate all you guys.
Yes.
Popsicle stand.
Well, hold on. Can't rush out just yet. We got.
Oh, that's part of the busting.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Let's put a cap on it. What's the box say? Wrap it up, B.
I had a Ryan Getzlaf jersey. I got rid of it because it was crap. I have every intention on replacing it. You don't know me.
You don't know.
You don't know me.
You didn't know?
Down. Anyway. On to.
Well, that's better call somebody.
On to our player of the week. Gents, who you got?
I'll go first. A guy I wanted here in Philadelphia, Vladimir Tarasenko, NHL's #1 star for the week ending April 17th. 7 goals. Yes, you heard that right. 7 goals in the week, 11 points overall in 4 games. One of those goals being his 30th goal of the season. He also got his 5th career hat trick and 3 consecutive game-winning goals. He's tied for 4th in the NHL with 9 game-winning goals, which is a career high. And I don't think St. Louis is going to keep him. Just saying that if the Flyers are going to spend any money, maybe think Vladdy.
He hasn't missed many games this year. He's been healthy for the most part, and that was my big concern. That was my big red flag for him.
Right. I don't know if that's changed, their opinions changed, but at least from an article that I read about probably about 2 months ago on the subject, to be honest with you, said that their intentions were not to re-sign him in St. Louis. So we'll see how it goes.
Interesting.
You might be able to get him on the cheap too. Not like super cheap, but you probably have to spend like 4 to 5 to get him. He's not going to make 9 like he did before.
Right.
So that was actually my player of the week as well. I can't really argue against this. Just that stat alone of 7 goals in a week. I'm like, Christ. Like, dude, slow your roll. Save some for the playoffs, bro. Like, seriously.
Don't tell him what to do. Let him live his life.
Hey, listen, if that's what he wants to
Oh, man, you're on fire this show, Brian. Another well-timed, perfect comment.
It's because I'm so fucking delirious.
Yeah, me too, dude. Me too, for many different reasons right now.
All right, Bri, do you have a different player of the week?
I mean, I didn't initially have one because I haven't been able to watch a lot of hockey in the last week or so because of work. But I'm going to go with Claude Giroux after reading his stats in the last 5 games. He's got 7 points in the last 5 games, 1 goal, unfortunately, but the rest were assists. Really showing his value down there in Florida, and they love him down there, and they should love him down there because we didn't appreciate him enough up here. And he's going to go out and win a cup with the Florida Panthers. So good for Claude Giroux. He's my player of the week.
All right, then. Down with that. All right, gentlemen, the final one, the hot take of the week. Who wants to go?
I think I already gave mine. Leaf Silver Lightning in round 1.
All right.
That's my hot take.
My hot take. Actually, I think I had a similar hot take to yours last week too. But hot take for me: Flyers win their last game of the regular season.
Oh, that's a hugest hot take.
Fuck it, why not? Got nothing to lose. Let's see them win their last one before it's all said and done.
Man, they're just getting looping base hits left and right. They're man, that
against the Senators, I could buy that for $1. Go out on a winning note. I like it. At home too.
Yeah, I'd take that.
Friday night, 7 p.m. Let's go. Let's get sauce.
Hot take: somebody out of this panel will find $100 on the ground.
It ain't me. I'm not that lucky. I appreciate that though. All right, so I got a real hot take, like a real hot take.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
So, LA Kings wind up making the playoffs, but that's not the hot take. The Kings make the playoffs,
Okay.
and eliminate the Edmonton Oilers in the first round.
I would love to see that, honestly. Just like, you got your asses kicked again in the first round. I love watching you suffer, Edmonton. This is payback for the 80s.
I like it, though. I like it, though. Strength versus strength. Defense versus offense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think the Kings have more offense than the Oilers have defense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the Kings are built from top to bottom too. They have a solid roster. You know, Jonathan Quick has been playing well, and then Cal Peterson has been pretty good for the Kings as well. And obviously, they got that good defense, and the offense has been really good as well. With Edmonton, it's going to be pretty embarrassing to lose to a team that's in the playoffs for the first time since I think 2017. To go out like that because you neglected to go after a goaltender in free agency when you had a few good ones. You went after Mike freaking Smith at 42 years old. You get what you deserve, Oilers fans. You get what you deserve.
You get what you paid for.
That's a first round exit out of the playoffs.
Anthony, my hot take is Clark and Holmgren are lovers. And Ted saying that one will take us out of the running for Shane Wright. Maybe not. Maybe Arizona will win out. Probably not. That'll probably.
It doesn't matter where you finish. It just matters where you finish because that's just a higher percentage for the draft lottery.
What's up, Wills?
Yo, Wills. Willie Vegas in the house.
Yeah.
Bring out the boomsticks.
And then Ted said, when you have Connor.
In about an hour and a half, bring them out.
Yep.
Hour 36 technically.
When you have Connor McDavid, you should be competing for titles. You should be, but this is the Oilers, and they don't know how to build a team. So
The rest of the team is fine. I'm good with the rest of the team. They got depth on offense. They have a solid defense that can win them hockey games. They don't have a fucking goaltender. They don't have Mike Smith is 42 freaking years old, and their backup is 33. They have no goaltender. They have no goaltending prospect.
well, if there's one thing that the Flyers have taught people is that you don't need goaltending. Yeah. Anyway, all right, guys. On that note, I think it's time.
Real quick,
Yeah.
before we sign off. Look
Yeah.
at the teams that are winning Stanley Cups. They have goaltending. They have franchise goaltending.
No,
Give
you're
me
right.
one reason why Edmonton is ever going to win. They don't have a franchise goaltender. They had an opportunity at one, passed up on them. A couple teams had an opportunity on one last year, and Jesper Wallstedt, and let Minnesota take them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Jesper
you're wrong.
Wallstedt, in Minnesota, they don't really need a goaltender. They took him anyway, but now they have another franchise goaltender in the mix. And they're built to win now. And they're also built to win in the future. So, Bill Guerin, hats off to you, bro.
Yeah, Minnesota looking
All right,
good
let's go home.
going
I'm
down the
tired.
stretch here.
Bring
All
it home,
right,
Maddie.
guys.
I'm ready for bed.
So that'll do it for this Hockey Happy Hour, our final live reaction show for the Flyers season. Next week, we will be previewing the playoffs and seeing what matchups we have and who we think will win. And then the week after that, the playoffs will officially be here, gentlemen. So we are almost at the most exciting time of the year for us, the good old Stanley Cup playoffs. But until then, if you wish to support the Hockey Happy Hour, as well as all of the great shows we got here at A2D.radio.com, you can go where, Brian?
Head on over to PhillyDrinkers.com. I mean, let's be real. Sixers are in the playoffs right now. They're up 2-0. There's no better place to thrust the process than going to PhillyDrinkers.com. Getting this T-shirt and many other ones over there. You get all kinds of great stuff, all kinds of novelty shirts. They got socks, blankets, mugs, hats, show-specific memorabilia. So head on over. Alex is going to take good care of you. Good quality shit over there at PhillyDrinkers.com. That's Philly Drinkers LLC. Go check them out. Seriously. Great stuff over there.
And, of course, the show sponsor, none other than Manscaped. You want to get rid of them old hygiene habits, especially the bad ones. And, yes, old habits do die hard. But Manscaped makes it a little bit easier because you get 20% off, free shipping with the A2D code. And you know what? You get rid of those old hygiene habits, upgrade your life, get confident, get the ladies, get everything, get a better life, basically, all in general through Manscaped. All right, gentlemen. We'll see you all next week right here on A2DRadio.com for our preview of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But until then, guys, you stay safe out there. We'll see you next week. And, yeah, peace, everyone. Take it easy.